What's going on, everybody? It's Anthony from Truth Will Set You Free, hashtag Be The Change. And of course, blunt force discussion, not the usual digs. We'll get into that in just a second. But of course, I want to kick it off talking about some of our sponsors. As always, we have got Monate that has always been a help since pretty much day one. Shout out to Tony Van Schoik, who has actually got me into this product. If you would like to know more about cruelty-free, all the different good things with the hair. And I always talk about my hair is better now than it was before. It's smoother, it's silkier, it's nicer. I don't know what it is, but it's probably their testing and all the good stuff that goes into it. It is a network marketing company. If you are interested in that, we are one of their marketing partners. Email us at bluntforcediscussion@gmail.com if you want to know more about that. And of course, go to bluntforce.mymonate.com as well, bluntforce.mymonate.com to learn more if you want to buy some of the products. I even brought what appears apparently to be some kind of vibrating device. It is not. It is their flagship product, the Rejuvenate oil, which I do also use on my face. I'm actually 62 years old. That's a lie. Anyways, aside from that, make sure you check out our gear. I'm rocking the Defund the Media shirt right now. I typically have an Awake Not Woke hat on, but if you go to awakenotwokestore.com and use Awake for 15% off, you're going to get hooked up there. All right, it's go time. We're going to talk about this episode. We're going to get started. If you noticed, the digs are, I'm playing an away game. I'm literally trying to play at home. It's like there was a hurricane at my house, and we ended up having to go and play our home game away. And this is just what we do. But we are actually at a very cool studio. It's known as the Gauge Studio. The host of the Gauge is actually sitting where his guests typically sit. And he's sipping on a nice little coffee beverage, but we're going to move straight to the shots. Oh, is that water?
I've got three beverages.
You got
all lined
three
up.
beverages.
We've got uppers, we've got downers, and we've got keep you hydrated.
Smart. I've just got liquor, so we're good there. Yeah. But yeah, I want to introduce you guys. This is going to be fun. It's going to be probably a different conversation than we're used to. It's also going to be more work on the back end for me. Totally worth it because didn't have to spend the money on the... Speaking of that, patreon.com/bluntforce discussion if you do want to help us out. All right. I've got Chance. I kind of wanted to do the Conrado, but Chance Conrado. And he's had a podcast for a while in the Western world, I think would be the encompassing side of it. You also talk a little bit of politics. Recently had Tim Kennedy on and has had pretty much every big name in rodeo for the last 3 years, and you've done a great job. So go ahead and introduce yourself, a little bit about you, and we'll talk about your past coming up. But first off, tell us about you.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it. I'm Chance Conrado. I, depending on what you ask me, when you ask me, and how many of these I've had, I'd say I'm probably an entrepreneur. But really, I host a podcast, and we're the largest Western-based podcast in the entire world. We're number one in our segment. We've beat Michelle Obama's ass a few times on the Apple chart, so that's been cool. But yeah, you nailed it. We started in the Western world, and it's kind of like if you have a tie to that, even a little bit, like you're in. We've talked with people all the way from Tim Kennedy to sitting senators to Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, one of my personal favorites, and you name it, we try to touch it. And for me, it's been really about affecting the world in a positive way, which I know is what you're doing too. So, I mean, that's no easy task in 2020 fucking two. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And before we get into Shotzi, that'll be the first thing. First off, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier to you. What the fuck am I doing dating a barrel racer?
Dude, first of all,
was that a bad idea? I'm
really glad she's not here. Terrible fucking idea. Unless you're some oil sheiks trust fund baby, Anthony, what are you doing?
I invested in her business. I try to do the best I can. I mean, I always say I used to have a little bit of money, but it quickly dries up and it's never enough.
No, you're in the wrong gig. You know how much just the saddle that goes on the horse's back costs?
Over $4,000. I'm learning this.
Yeah.
And then
as my boy Dale Brisby would say, old son, you fucked up. Yeah. He wouldn't say the fucked up part. But yeah, I mean, come on. At least you picked one who has her own business and something else.
True. Which is what I was doing earlier today, was helping at the spa. That's why I had to run. I had to drill chairs.
I would say smarter than most. I don't know. There's a good way to put it. But if you didn't know that world and you're starting to get a taste of it, I know you watched the Pink Buckle sale. Yeah. And you saw how high those 6 digits got.
Unreal.
Almost 7 digits for one. That's one horse.
One.
Yeah, you want a Ferrari? Cute.
Yeah.
You know what
she
I mean?
thinks that, like, because I used to have, like, kind of fancy cars. And the fact that I even said this right now, she'll literally be like, why do you always have to bring that up to people? I'm like, why do you have to bring up the fact that you have all these horses?
The horses cost more than the cars.
By far.
The insurance on the horses more than the insurance on the Porsche.
Which she was doing horse insurance on the side for a bit, too.
Yeah. She's a hustler. I'll give her that.
Oh, 100%.
She is a hustler. I will give her that.
But she demands a lot out of the person she's hustling with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not exclusively a barrel racer trait. That's a modern female trait.
Oh, absolutely. But I do think it's accelerated in the, the world of barrel racing.
She's really affected you in a poor way. You're walking around with that battery-operated silver bullet in your back pocket.
True, I actually had one of the things
anti-stress supplements.
Well, no, I have Prostate Pro is one of the things I have, and I know you're almost 30, right?
I am 30 now.
You're 30 now.
Prostate's functioning though.
I pee so much in the middle of the night,
Really
not in the
slow?
bed. No. I just always have to go, so that's why I use the Prostate Pro. And she also makes fun of me. Do all barrel racers belittle the people they're with?
Always.
Is that their thing?
Yeah, it's a coping mechanism.
Might be. I think that's pretty accurate. I'm
tough competition.
So glad she's not here because it allows us to say everything. I'll pay for this later, which is totally fine. I'm good with that.
Oh, I'm not paying.
No, I'll pay.
I'm a bystander.
No, yeah. I mean,
I know you're not paying dollars. You're paying in emotional damage and therapy.
100%. She'll beat me, and so she won't beat me that bad. All right, I want to start with Shotzi. Usually we do this midway through the show, but this is the Don't Get the Shot Seat by Artis Labs. Dr. Artis, which if you do ever go back and watch one of the episodes, well, you can't find all of them because his gets banned.
Dude, I've watched your show. I liked it. I knew about your show before you ever even asked me to be a guest.
Sweet action. And your show, Kelly and I, whenever we do, because I didn't know you did video, because Kelly and I, when we do a lot of long drives, because again, barrel racers, all they do is they live in a truck.
Somehow I've stayed monetized. So we make $1,500 a month or whatever off YouTube. That's cool.
Kind of pays for rent.
It does actually.
Yeah, that's what it should cover. But yeah, we listen to your stuff, usually audio, especially the people that she knows, and we go through that. And you do a great show as well.
Thank you.
But yeah, so we're gonna do the Shotzi. The Dr. Artis episode is the fun one because it's conspiracy. It's thinking that COVID is based, and I'm not gonna say it's fully conspiracy because I fully believe it. That it has a tie into snake venom.
Every conspiracy out there right now, I now believe. The fact that Alex Jones got sued for $1 billion.
That he lost.
Oh,
not just sued.
Oh, he lost it.
$1 billion.
He didn't have it, but it's gone.
I know, which is so
that
weird.
tells you that all the shit he was saying is real. They're burying him not because he's telling. They're burying him because they're not telling a lie. Should have never said that about Sandy Hook.
The thing that's funny about that is he actually he apologized for that in 2016. He admitted that he was wrong, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, and he's referenced it 1,000 times, so has everybody else, including Joe Rogan. Doesn't matter.
Right, that always bothered me about Alex Jones because I actually know that does not mean he deserves $1 billion lawsuit, period. But I knew a first responder from Sandy Hook. One of my buddies from Dallas, at his wedding is a police officer from that area.
Yeah.
He was one of the first people in the building, and he told me one time what he saw, and I'll never forget it. And his cop car, when he came outside, had bullet shards inside of it. I'm like, it's legit. And I'm like, Alex is pushing this a little too far. Thing is, he didn't push it that much. He
kind of was a different guy back then, too.
I saw him at the Capitol, too. And he was directing people to be peaceful on a megaphone and go around the building, continue the march. And he was not the guy that you would think, like, raid the Capitol, which nobody was, by the way. Different story.
I saw the videos.
Yeah. All the good videos or the bad videos?
I saw all the videos that Yo Girl and Ryan had on their phone.
Oh, on their phone. Yeah.
That's the whole reason I brought them in, was right after that.
Yeah. And that day is and I had a great guest that was one of the independent journalists there, and it's such misinformation when people see they play that 6 minutes over and over and over and over again, and everybody thinks it was all that 6 minutes.
It's all about narrative. I mean, if you can write the narrative, you can decide what the narrative is at any given moment and change it at will.
Yeah.
What can't you do?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we're at.
Yeah. All right. So this is the Shot Seat. He's got a lot of good products. Actually, the Doc's Viral Defense is the one I want to talk about because one of the people I work with just got the coof, and she took vitamin C. She's also been vaccinated and has had COVID 3 times since she was vaccinated. Just throwing that out there. And
you saw what the CDC said, right?
Right. I think that was impossible at one point. But she took this with some vitamin C overnight, and I told her to kind of overdose on it. Not FDA approved, to tell you that. But she did double the dosage, and she woke up the next day because it's got stuff like quercetin, zinc, and some other stuff in it, plus the C. She literally goes, how did that do that overnight? So check it out. Go to thedrartisshow.com and use BFD at checkout for 10% off. This is how we do this. First, we start out with a little sip. It's actually the sip seat because we just take a little cheers to start.
Just a tiny sip. Don't put the whole thing.
No, because we sip it throughout. And then if we need to, I'll go grab some more, whatever.
Well, we have unlimited liquor. Wow.
Copious.
That is a very feminine whiskey. What is that?
Well, that's the habaneros. That's like the, it's kind of like a Fireball. Habanero.
Oh.
That was her choice. I mean, it is tastes
What
pretty.
are we recording a Girls Gone Wild video? Fireball?
God, see, Kelly's going to use this against me now.
Yeah.
She thinks everything I do is too girly. Thanks a lot.
I'm sorry. It's just I'm like a straight up shoot the bourbon kind of guy.
Here's what we're going to do.
This is actually tasty, though.
It's pretty. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to shoot it. I'm going to grab some bourbon. So
Did I really offend you that bad? We can drink this. Anthony,
no,
it's
you
fine.
didn't.
Just
You
give us
didn't
some more.
offend me, but you just gave fuel to a barrel racer's fire.
You know where I come from.
Tops to bottom. Here you go. All right, I'm coming back. Oh.
Wow, that tastes like a fairy.
Yeah, that was not as good as I remember either.
You know what everybody likes that I also hate?
What?
That peanut butter shit. What is that stuff called?
If you do it the right way, if you add a little, and I'm gonna sound gay, if you do a little bit of, or girly, if you do a little bit of grenadine and something else in there, it's one of the best shots you will ever have.
Really?
Yeah, if you like peanut butter and jelly.
When I was a child.
You're a dick.
Oh, dude, I do things all very specific. The things I eat, it's very specific. It's all hyper masculine. I'm not overly masculine person necessarily, but it's like it's red meat. It's like potatoes. If I'm gonna drink, it's gonna be brown liquor. And this is it. It's like my name is John fucking Wayne, but it's just not how I am. I also have to have very specific pants. Or boots.
Yeah, so I used to have the more tighter pants, and Kelly's like, that's not going to work for me. So she still wants me to pleat my jeans. I can't do that.
She wants you starching those suckers.
Yeah, whatever the hell they call it in this Western world. I'm from the city, for God's sakes. I don't know what this stuff is.
I noticed you were wearing boots. You're wearing boot, like extra boot cut jeans.
Yeah.
Dude, she's got you switched.
I don't even know what to do anymore.
I don't know.
But I did the right
happy.
thing. I am super happy. I just can't. I can't imagine going back to the city. I used to live in a high rise in Dallas, and like that was my life. And I just, with the way the world is right now, absolutely not. Even Roanoke has become too city for it. Hell, Roanoke had the drag shows a couple months ago that was for kids. Again, I've been to some drag shows that are fun for adults.
Dude, I lived over there for the last like 6 or 7 years. Mm-hmm. Then I moved to Austin, where it's even worse.
Yeah, it's a different town, which we'll talk about. All right, so this is the longest start to shot seat in history. I'm going to ask some questions, and you're going to answer them relatively quickly, and then we'll get into full conversation. Since we talked about conspiracies, did the moon landing happen?
Yes, the moon landing happened.
Ooh.
I do think that we went to the moon, because if we didn't, there's a lot of faith in what's left of humanity that I will no longer have.
Do you think it happened? Okay, so I'll follow up. Do you think it happened the way that we saw it, or do you think we maybe went another time, or do you think the moon landing that we see from TV was real?
I like to think that I have a little more faith in humanity from that time period.
Okay.
Personally, and I think if our government went to that extreme to try to unify or excite people or compete with the Russians, then none of this fucking matters. We are in a simulation.
I'm going to be honest with you. So this is going to be episode near 20 or 21. And I started asking this question around 10. Mm-hmm. You're the first one that truly believes it happened as it was written.
Yeah.
That's how much we have lost faith in any of our systems.
Yeah.
When I heard the one guy, not just Buzz Aldrin doing the whole telling the kid, but when I heard the guy go, we just don't have the technology anymore to go back. I'm like, you don't have the technology.
Here's the thing. I believe in heroes, and guys who do that are heroes, and I think we need more heroes. And I'm not willing to accept, unless someone comes out and says, hey, by the way, it was fake, like with proof, I'm not willing to accept that that's not true, because I need to believe in some fucking heroes.
I get you. Yeah, I'll take that. Let's see. We already kind of talked about it, but do you have any specific advice for a guy, random guy, asking for a friend, dating a barrel racer?
Yeah. Separate bank accounts.
Unless you're dating like Haley Kinsel or married to Jordan Briggs or something like that. Then, I mean.
You know how fast that money gets spent?
I noticed that.
No. What you want to do. Oh, this is so bad. What you want to do is you don't want to look at the woman. You want to look at her parents.
True.
Look at her parents.
I love Kelly's mom and dad. And
Do they have a jet? Do they have a booming Fortune
Something
100 business? Mm-hmm. If so, go with that.
Yeah.
If you're looking for security.
See, I'm doing the positive spin is I'm going to say that it's driving me to make sure that I find something greater.
Yeah.
I'll stick with that.
There you go. Then you're in it for the right reasons.
See, there we go, right? And I do start to love horses. I'm not going to lie. Favorite guests that you've had on your show, a couple that you can think of.
I've got favorite guests in different categories.
Okay.
As far as rodeo people go, that'd be tough to pick. Real tough. I probably won't pick the rodeo one.
Okay. Because that's
political is going to be Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. I get a lot from him. He is a really unbelievable person.
Yeah, he is.
Tim Kennedy for true life celebrity, because his message is so good and he was so gracious and so kind to me, invited me into his area, got to meet all of his people, got to hang on the jiu-jitsu mats, gave so much of his valuable time. We were there for hours kicking it with the sheepdog response people. And that
you were at his property, right?
Yep. All day,
Badass.
all fucking day. And cleared a lot of his schedule. We got to mess with guns and just unbelievable. And so that will go down as a great experience, and I'm sure it'll open a lot of doors. But and that episode was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was great.
His message is fantastic. His book, fan-fucking-tastic. Mm-hmm. Those are big ones for me.
No, I'll take that. And one of the things I listened to on the way here earlier today was the Tim Kennedy one. And honestly, you guys covered the subjects that I always like to cover, and I'll bring them up later. But brilliant guy. Like fighter, but brilliant guy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Clinton Anderson, that will be, and that's I consider him a mentor in my life and a true friend. And, his episodes are our biggest. No one can compete with those. We're talking millions of downloads. And, he's a controversial character, but no one deserves success more than that guy.
Yeah.
So I'll always have his back.
I dig it. And last question, because I'm going to make this one short, because I know we're going to talk about a lot of random shit. For the barrel racing world, who do you think is going to win NFR this year? Because it's coming out probably.
Oh God, are you really asking me that cheesy question, Anthony?
It's a cheesy question.
I personally, I would love to see Cassie Mowry win a world title.
Oh, that's right. She's going to be in it this year. Yeah, she wasn't.
I would love to see that. But
I call her Mau Mau, by the way. I think she's hilarious.
Have you said that to her face?
Yeah.
That's good. No, she's not. She's not a mean person.
No.
I don't know her well personally, by the way. But
she's one of the few ones. So I've never she went, and I apparently it was out of character for her. But she went out drinking with us one time, and she just had a good time. And I was like, I'm calling you Mau Mau from this point on. And she was cool with it. However, she's never accepted my friend request on Facebook, so maybe she doesn't dig the Mau Mau.
She doesn't have much of a social media presence, dog. No. At all.
She's never on there.
She's an unbelievable competitor. I would love to see her, as if she hasn't accomplished enough. And I don't geek out on barrel racing.
Yeah.
Personally, the horses, because I love high performance horses.
Yeah.
It is an addiction, and I don't talk about it a lot, but that's a true passion is performance horses, not going around the three barrels, but performance horses. That is probably my life's greatest joy. Yeah. But the horse itself, not the event. I've been. The snaffle bit fraternity is going on here in Fort Worth right now.
Yeah.
And so for the next 3 days, all I'm doing is covering snaffle bit fraternity stuff and some of my favorite people in the world. But those horses are fucking G's. Yes.
What is a snaffle bit?
A snaffle bit?
Yeah.
So a snaffle. Oh, your girl's gonna kick you. Dick, dog.
She says some things that I'm literally.
A snaffle is a type of bit. Basically, it's got 2 rings on the ends.
Yeah.
Right. It's a very simple bit.
Yeah.
So it's 2. The easiest way I can explain it to somebody who doesn't know: circle, the bit's in the middle.
Got it. Okay.
Simple as that.
So
I could get into details, but it doesn't matter.
Here's the other problem with with Kelly, specifically Kelly.
Most barrel racers don't run in snaffles.
Well, the thing is, when you ask a question about this world, the way that they explain, especially when they're showing you how to do something, they're not good instructors because they've done it their whole life. And you might be the same. It could be for any part of rodeo. They do things so quick. They're like, it's so easy. Just go like that. and they're like, they expect you to learn. So like snaffle bit,
you would get a lot out of the cow horse, the working cow horse industry, the arraigned cow horse industry, because things are explained differently. I get a lot out of them. Like I enjoy riding young horses.
Okay.
Like 2-year-olds, way before Cassie Mowry ever gets them.
Right.
Or somebody of that nature. That's what I like to do. And I never talk about it, but it's like a hobby almost. And we got some badass 2-year-olds right now, and I'm riding them. I'm putting the foundation on them, and they'll go to my sister Ivy or Cassie or somebody like that. But that's something I hadn't done in a long time, and I'm doing it again. But yeah, I don't remember what we were talking about.
No, you're good. Well, that was the Don't Get the Shot Seat by Dr. Artis Labs, and we're gonna keep moving on. So when it comes to what you moved down to Austin, you lived up here for a while,
Long time.
Yeah. So
Austin area, not Austin.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Outside.
So you have horses now. How much land do you have out? We're outside of Austin.
So okay, so this gets crazy, but I'm actually got a house in Austin.
Okay,
just a house. My plans have changed a lot. I'm actually based out of Sarasota, Florida area at the moment, and traveling in a circle
back and forth.
So about 30 plus acres in Sarasota, Florida.
Is that where your horses are?
That's where they're at, and they're not just mine. I mean, they're my 12 gauge ranch is the corporation, if you want to call it that, and that's a business. My stepdad, Dustin Pointer, my mother, and then myself, and we probably have 10 or 12 prospects right now. And I'll be real honest, I've had a business, a really good 8-figure business that I got involved in when I was 24 years old. Sweat equity, things of that nature, entrepreneurship, that's always been my passion, and said fuck horses for quite a while because I didn't want to be poor. And anyway, moved to Austin to expand that business. Some things have transpired where I'm able to have more freedom, not the financial freedom I'm used to necessarily, but to where I can go help with our program. So I'm spending a lot of time in Florida right now, coming back here, going back down there, and anyway, lots of time on airplanes. But yeah, things have changed. Priorities have changed really quick, and people can be like, "You're a fucking hypocrite. All you ever talk about is why it's important to be financially secure on your podcast." None of that's changed. I agree, but yeah, I just I turned 30 and I started having existential crisis. Do you remember when you turned 30?
Oh, 100%.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you're a dick. The big age, it wasn't the 30, it was the 28 for some odd reason. It was my
really? See,
because I was a team sports guy, like, so in my mind.
You played sports?
Yeah.
College?
No, I played college level.
I've seen we're friends on Facebook. I see the football stuff you're doing on college.
Yeah.
Day.
It was more baseball, but it's just in your head growing up when you think you're decent at something. 28 is the age where it's like you've hit your final like solid contract. So when I hit 28, knowing that I never was going to make it in any sport, not that I was even still trying, I was like, all right, 28 was my 30. So same thing. But yeah.
No, I get it. There were so many times in my life where I thought I was going to be a UFC fighter, and then I thought I was going to somehow go to the NFR and tie down roping for a little while after I had knocked somebody up. And the next big thing is that I was going to be a #1 podcast host. Got 1 out of 3.
Yeah.
But
so actually, stop where you're at, because so the knocked up story, and I think we shared. So are you married to the person you first knocked up?
Sure am.
Okay, so we took different paths. So I got somebody pregnant. About 6 years ago?
Yeah.
And were you were dating this person, or was it very early?
No, we were dating. We had been dating. I mean, we had a serious relationship.
Okay.
She's my wife now.
Yeah. And you got 2 kids, right?
I do, yeah. And I can tell you, it was lots of trials and tribulations, and I was a selfish motherfucker. I didn't know who the fuck I was. Mm-hmm. And she almost left me because I started pursuing professional rodeo. I mean, I was rodeoing, took a little break for her, moved us back out, drove all the way down to Stephenville from Denver, Colorado, bought a calf horse, spent money we didn't have, I'm going to the NFR this year. It was like a 45-day start to that, and she was like, I'm out. There's got to be a better dude here than some cowboy. And
in Stephenville?
Well, no, I was in Colorado, thinking I was going to pro rodeo out of Colorado.
Oh yeah, good luck. Yeah.
I came to Stephenville to get the horse. was that.
That's what you're talking about. Okay.
Yep. And anyway, she gave me ultimatums and all that, and then so I ended up getting into business with a friend instead, and that's why I came to Fort Worth to pursue entrepreneurship and got really good at understanding business and operating companies and marketing and growing all that. And then it turned into this, and then now I've kind of come full circle where I'm able to write again. So it's good stuff.
When did at what point of that did she get pregnant?
Good question. Like before
you were thinking about rodeoing.
Because I had quit rodeoing because of family disputes,
Yeah.
which anybody who's in the know about our family, and everybody knows about that. But yeah, it was a family venture, the horse training and rodeoing and all that. We all were together, but it wasn't a healthy family venture. So
Gotcha.
left that, knocked her ass up.
Well, technically, it's not the ass, just so you know.
Turns out babies don't come out the butt.
No.
Had to learn that the hard way.
No. And you know what's funny? Totally aside. So I have a very intelligent family on my mom's side in terms of Mensa IQ type people that are also, and this is like the common sense of life, they're also far left Democrats.
Wait, stop. Two things. First of all, you and very high IQ people, I don't see it.
Yeah,
because you walk around with that in your pocket. And two, there's no such thing as high IQ and far left.
So
not today. Classic maybe, but not now.
Right. And I would consider myself a classic liberal, to be totally honest.
I would as well.
Yeah. And
dude, do your drugs. I'm cool with it. Just don't tell me what to do.
And absolutely. And the weird, so they are from literally an IQ. I'm not saying high logic, which I guess
you're talking Google IQ test. I can knock the shit out.
Or
of that.
yeah, even the ones where you go in and you take your test, they're very very high level. But you know what's funny? I was just there a couple weeks ago. They watch stuff that doesn't allow them to educate themselves. They like the Stephen Colbert's. They like late night TV. They like, and they'll only, if they watch news, it's the stuff. So they're so educated on misinformation that they don't know any better.
Well, they're bought it, and it's everybody. It's even if you go far right, you end up with the same type of person.
Yeah.
Right. There's a damning effect to only watching Tucker Carlson.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing. Is you're not educating yourself across the board. And I can tell you the only thing I go harder in the paint on than the things I care about is politics. I mean, I have read every book. I have watched everything. I mean, I talk to Turning Point USA people all the time. I mean, it's like that is what I thought was a passion until I realized what a damned passion that might be.
Yeah. So the reason we bring up the ass comment, so this very intelligent part of my family, I remember sitting at a Red Lobster when my grandpa was still alive, and we're having a conversation, and I'm just sitting there, and it's like, it's so hard because I don't watch my tongue, but I don't force the issue with them unless it comes up.
This is getting weird. Tongue, ass.
Tongue,
going,
ass.
Dude?
So the Mensa people, one is even a member of Mensa, and they were talking about a niece or something that they have on their whatever side, and saying, yeah, she got pregnant, and this is a Mensa IQ. She got pregnant, and her and her boyfriend never even had sex. They only had oral and anal sex. I go, they're lying, right? She's like, no, no, they're lying. That's the level of leftist logic that they can't break out of a paradigm of just basic knowledge on Earth. Yet for some odd reason they can have a decent IQ, which is why they can brag and be like, I have a high IQ, and I'm a educated leftist.
There's such a difference between true intelligence though and pattern recognition on those IQ tests.
Agreed.
It's not the same thing.
Agreed. I'm a low level genius. I'm a 140. I'm not. That's nothing to brag about. My intelligence is completely different than that.
It's great, though, if you're 140 IQ, but you can't walk on the street and figure anything out.
True.
What's the difference?
Yeah. I would pride myself more on my ability to create logic and conversation than
Great. You're Stephen fucking Hawking's, but you're still shit in a bag.
Preached. Oh, God. So let's talk about being classic liberal. So, and you talked a little bit about that with Tim Kennedy as well.
Yes.
And I actually have a very similar, it's tough. We'll just go into Texas politics because I think that's part of it. And I think it's going to be
Did you say Texas politics?
Texas politics. I think that's going to be a big issue is I think Texas does have a lot of classic liberal voters that are conservative voters.
In extremely, let me rephrase, in densely populated areas, your Houstons, your Austins, your San Antonios, your Dallas. I mean, that's one of the big problems the way our voting system works locally, federally, and state level is, I mean, everybody gets a vote, but fuck, everybody gets a vote.
Can you imagine if they did what they wanted to and got rid of the Electoral College on a national level?
We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Never.
We'd be in a gulag somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. And that's when people are saying to get rid of the Electoral College, it's pretty much like, yeah, but because we're smarter than the smart people should have a greater vote. No. I thought you were all about equality in a sense. And
no, you're for equality when it fits your narrative. Equality of my think, not your think. I don't want to hear what you have to say.
Right.
You know what I love about some of the great right wing pundits like a Ben Shapiro. I know he gets a lot of attention, but they at least let people talk.
Yeah.
Like you get to say something. They will listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
In some sense of the word. Now, you might go on Tucker Carlson and get set up just like you would on CNN. It's not quite the same.
Yeah.
They will hear you out. But we still all believe that, hey, you have pink hair. For some reason you were born a biological female, but you think you need a dick. I understand that we all aren't allowed to say that that's a mental health condition and that 80% of you are going to kill yourselves now. After you cut the dick off, you're still going to kill yourself.
It's the exact same percentage.
It's the exact same percentage, which is 80. At least it might be higher.
I think it's the stat on it is 34% before and after.
I thought it was 80%.
I don't think 80% commit suicide.
You need to tell Steven Crowder that.
I love listening to Crowder, but I don't think it's 80.
He says 80. I just heard it.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard it
80 is super high.
That's really high.
That'd be 4 out of 5 people.
I've said, okay, if it's not 4 out of 5 people, then I've been misinforming people since I heard that on his show.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's the stat that I heard, and actually I think I heard it on his show and others, was 34. He might sometimes.
It's even 34%. He does.
That's insane.
I
and
promise
34
you,
is high.
That some bitch said 80%. He might have. Crowder.
It might have been. He might have cherry picked the stat, and 80% of a certain.
He does do that.
Yeah, it's 80% of a certain number of the ones that made the change, or whatever it might be.
And I'm ADD, so I might have only heard the 80%.
But let's
told everybody I know
it's
that.
It's okay. Let's at least say it's 34%, let's just say it's 30%.
Yeah,
that's still 3 out of 10. And that's 3 out of 10 before surgery, 3 out of 10 after surgery.
Dan, there's only 10 in every city.
Yeah,
but they need their own bathroom.
And well, there was 10.
Yeah.
Now it's becoming so hip and
7. Yeah, they killed themselves. You're fucked up. You know that, right?
Oh, back to being a classical liberal.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, it speaks to that kind of trans discussion too, and how it's become so popular in Texas. I don't know necessarily why, and it goes to the trans issue and the abortion issue. And the trans issue to me is a good one for the conservatives to continue to show and expose, because it's a little weird in front of kids. Again, and like you said, it is a mental illness. Like when somebody says they're non-binary, they're a they.
Them.
They, them. I don't care. I honestly don't care if somebody's transitioned. I don't care if they're gay. I don't care if they're straight. But when it comes to pronouns and you're referring to they.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Did you watch Matt Walsh's What is a Woman?
Phenomenal.
Fuck.
And the fact that he carried it with such a straight face was pretty
stoically.
Yeah.
Carried that.
Yeah.
And I'm a stoicism guy. I've got Memento Mori on my necklace and always have.
Yeah.
The way it was cool.
The way he did it was masterful. He exposed how absolutely, and he gave them the questions beforehand and they still could not answer them.
Because you're dealing with a mental health issue. It's no different than bipolar or name any clinical issue, except for it has a political agenda attached to it. So these people, one, they're not getting the help that they need.
They're not.
That is the number one thing. Like, we can set aside all politics and right, left, center, any of that mess, and realize like these are sick people and no one's helping them.
Nobody.
It's like the PTSD pandemic.
Because there's nothing wrong
crisis.
with them. There's nothing wrong with them.
They're right.
You're literally telling me somebody's referring to themselves as a they, them, which is two people, which is technically having multiple personalities, and we're all of a sudden okay with it. Now, do I think somebody that is bipolar is a piece of shit? No. They're a good person. They've got a mental illness. Do I think somebody that is transitioning or has transgender or has gender dysphoria is a bad person? Absolutely not. Do they have a mental illness? Yes.
We should be helping them. We shouldn't. It's hard not to make jokes. Like, trust me, dude, I make jokes at everything and everyone's expense. It's really hard not to. But if we're being serious for a second, like, they need help.
Yeah.
Somewhere, somehow, the system has failed that person, and all their purple hair and dick cutting off, folding in of vaginal skin, whatever the hell goes into all that, aside from the financial benefit that those surgeons have from performing those operations. Like, we're literally looking at children being indoctrinated from a system that's supposed to serve them and society. And we're allowing people to go into this hyper-depressed state where they think the best thing they can do is cut their tits off and grow a dick.
Yeah.
And we're saying that that's normal.
Right.
That they don't need help. They're fine.
Right.
In fact, they're right. And this is a just cause.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
You don't care about this person.
Not at all. You care about the money behind it. And then you even look at gender block. Is it gender blockers? Puberty blockers.
Puberty blockers.
And you look at it and you go,
look at California. Look at what Gavin Newsom's trying to push. Look at the age.
10. Is it 10?
10 fucking years old.
It's unreal. And the thing is, from a health perspective, now, thank God, one of my favorite follows is Gays Against Groomers. Have you seen that on Instagram?
Yeah.
It's one of the best pages because just like when I had Cashley Kelly as my guy, and it sounds terrible, but like there's certain things I can't say that a black dude from gangbanging days can say to people. Just like if I were to make comments about the trans community, I'm not being derogatory. I'm trying to state facts. You can't say that. You're a straight white male. That's terrible. But the Gays Against Groomers, they're getting pretty decent traction, and they're being like, and there's a lot of people that
what
have
was
transitioned.
his name? Milo Yiannopoulos. I mean, he was a gay man, and he got completely canceled in silence.
Destroyed.
Cut off Twitter. You can't be a gay conservative, and you can't be a gay who is against that belief system.
Yeah.
It's just like being a black conservative. You're not allowed to be that either.
Are you following the Yeezy saga?
Yeah.
Yay, whatever they call them.
Dude, I have more Yeezys in my closet than make me comfortable to say.
Are they that comfortable? Are they worth $700?
They're not $700.
They were for a bit.
$255.
You can get a pair of Yeezys.
Well, I mean, they're probably not very popular now, but people were reselling them. But yeah, dude, they're the most comfortable shoe on planet Earth.
Really?
They do look like a scarecrow's mask, but it is what it is.
And Hey Dudes are my new go-to because I'm a cowboy, so that's like the non-boot wearing.
You'll never catch me in a pair of those.
They're so comfortable.
Me and my girl Fallon Taylor, it's Vans only. No Hey Dudes. There's something about Hey Dudes that make me think 55-year-old man on a really shitty boat.
40-year-old man. But anyways.
Not you, but the guy who really wears them.
Well, and they're actually owned by Crocs now. And it's also a very ultra-left company, which I did not know when I bought them. But
that's even worse.
It's tough.
There's nothing more disgusting than a pair of Crocs.
Vans is also very left. I can't wear
What
Vans.
isn't? What fashion or decent apparel company isn't? Of any kind. They're all left. Anything that comes that is a Fortune 500 style company that produces a product, a good, or a service is going to be left wing.
I've never seen on shoes, which are also very comfortable.
Never
They're
heard
running
of it.
shoes. They're super comfortable. Also getting kind of big in the rodeo like secondary shoe market, but they're European and they're big into running. I've never seen them have the ads. So Noble is like big in the. Have you heard of Nobles?
Noble CrossFit World, yeah.
Do you get their emails?
No. I don't have a pair of those.
I had one pair, and then now I have two because they sponsored some of the stuff we did, and they're like, you're gonna have to take photos in them once they've already sent them. Like, that's not gonna happen. But I'll take free shoes because that it's their expense. Their whole month of June, their email blasts were not about gay pride.
Juneteenth?
Not Juneteenth, because they mix the two. So June is gay pride month.
I've lost track. Everybody gets a month or a day now.
Right. But it wasn't about gay pride, which I already think that month. I've had conservative aunt on the show, and it's like, what the hell happened to June? Why is this such a big deal? But their ads were all in transitioning male athletes in female sports. That was their whole month.
Get the fuck out of here.
Not kidding. I'm like, I can't.
A CrossFit brand?
Noble.
Well, no bull. I will never, ever
Exactly.
wear shit.
Exactly. When they said take some pictures and put it on your social media, I was like, not going to happen. You never said that before you sent them for free.
What's that thing that Michael Jordan supposedly said about like white people or Republicans buy sneakers too? When Nike told him not to sell Jordans.
I think so. I think it was him.
Yeah.
Which is why he's the GOAT. Why LeBron James is a piece of shit.
Sell out.
Yeah.
I don't care about
He is
basketball.
Good. He is good. What sports do you care about that's non-rodeo?
Boxing, mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu. That's really it. Combat sports. Now, I used to like football, but they put their knees down. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Lockouts, anything like that, which is spoiled ass adults. And I don't think anybody's overpaid. If you have a skill and a talent, I think people what quarterback were they bitching about the amount of money he got? The dude from Kansas City?
Oh, Mahomes.
If he's worth that, he's worth that.
I think he's worth it.
Pay him.
Yeah.
I think any number that's determined that somebody's worth, they should get. I don't care if it's $1 billion. If they're the best at their craft and people think it's valuable, pay them.
Yeah.
But, dude.
It's like men's and women's sports. Like, again, I think some women's sports are great, basketball not being one of them. But, like, I used to cover College World Series softball. I used to cover a lot of the NCAA championships. And, I mean, those women are amazing. I mean, legit, like, it's fun to watch. But if you're not drawing a crowd like soccer, women's soccer should get paid the same as men because they draw just as big of a crowd when it comes to it. But for those like in the
Do they though? Even in Europe?
Not in Europe. No.
Okay, because that's where soccer makes the most money.
True, but in terms of their viewership online in America, you know, they should get what they deserve. But when people bitch about WNBA salaries, it's like, why?
It's just an easy argument that you're a misogynist if you argue it.
Yeah.
It's like there's buzzwords, misogyny and Nazi, and you pick the unsavory tagline that it's just a conversation. End. It's like, I said this, you can't respond. That's all that is. But no one cares about women's basketball. I don't even know where you would watch that.
Yeah.
And you know what?
ESPN the Ocho.
Yeah, exactly. I do love a good dodgeball match. But it's like rodeo. Here's a good example. Do I wish that people who rodeoed for a living got paid millions and millions of dollars?
Absolutely.
I do. Is there the viewership or the money to support that? No. So no, it can't happen. Not until you bring an audience and a value that supports that amount of money. It just doesn't work. Patrick Mahomes gets $350 million. Okay.
If he draws enough views, why not?
He's got enough views. There's enough money to support that. Then he kind of deserves that. If he's getting into geopolitical issues and doing the Colin Kaepernick, then fuck him, because you don't have the knowledge to do that, nor should you be involving yourself in that. You throw a piece of leather.
Yeah.
Like, I think you should focus on what you know, but again,
and he's good at commercials too. Like he's deep, so that's where he makes his money.
But you know,
I've met him once before.
The reason I like combat sports, I mean, I know there's been lots of bad shit in boxing, and they fix the fights, and I know there's all that, but it's like, at least there's some semblance of like honor in those sports. It's like, it's one guy, you close the cage, you hop over the ring, and it's like the best guy on that night's leaving if it's not fixed. And there's something about that I enjoy. Jiu-jitsu, if you like that. I mean, I don't know if you know anything about that. You know who Gordon Ryan is?
No.
Okay, then you don't know shit about jiu-jitsu.
I just know what it is.
Yeah, you know what it is. But I mean, he's the greatest jiu-jitsu practitioner the world has ever seen. He's a monster, a savage.
What's the school? What's the main jiu-jitsu school that
Gracie?
Gracie. Yeah.
But anyway, when you see somebody that dominant go, it's a thing of beauty. So,
gotcha.
Conor McGregor, nobody likes him, but when he was tearing people's heads off, it's a thing of beauty.
I think his ego got him. I was always a Conor McGregor.
Cocaine habit got him.
That might have got him too. So I'm a boxing. So I'll watch him. Then
Tyson,
greatest of all time is Tyson, and most ferocious of all time is Tyson. There's no more fun.
Cocaine got him too.
Everything. Did you watch Did you watch that?
It's great.
It was really good, and they did a good job being fair. Like
they did
with the
good
girl
representation.
Very good representation. The girl that did that claimed rape. The way that they were like, everybody dogs this girl. She never went after more money afterwards. She never went for fame.
She got raped for sure.
100%. They even kind of admitted it in the thing.
Granted, I think he might have admitted it on, what's his podcast called again?
I don't know, but I'm sure he says it really funny.
It's good.
Yeah.
He does say it funny.
I love Tyson's one of those people that
I love doing my podcast with mushrooms. The best thing you could do is take mushrooms and then do a podcast.
Did you hear that Rogan made his desk bigger when he heard when they were talking about like moving to Austin and they knew Tyson was going to be one? He goes, he wanted it wide enough just in case he said something that pissed off Tyson that he couldn't get across the table.
I was thinking about pre-mushrooms Tyson.
I
don't blame him.
But for like he's it's a great redemption story because I do think he's become a more decent man.
But everyone deserves, like, it's a prime example, right? Like you just brought up Tyson's redemption. Like he was able to move past that. Why is no one else able to do that right now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one can get past that. Like Alex Jones is a perfect example. Mm-hmm. He denounced what he said 2016 and he's still fucked.
Do you know why?
Inescapably fucked because he's right wing.
Do you know why people think that he said it over and over again, including myself, until I watched Crowder interview with him and some
Meaning the apology?
No, the fact that he talked about Sandy Hook so many times.
I'm not sure why you did that.
So he actually has it on record. He only talked a few times about it. But during the 2016 campaign, when he became a Trump supporter, Hillary Clinton's campaign blasted it out on all of her commercials that this is the kind of people that follow Donald Trump.
Deplorables, yeah.
The deplorables. And this is he thought it was fake. He had already actually said in 2016, at that point, he'd already said that he believed it. But nobody knew that because they put out so many of these Hillary Clinton ads that it was under the impression that he was blasting over and over again about it being fake, when in fact he had only said it a few times. Yeah. So we think that he said it on repeat. It's just and again, it's a big game on $1 billion when nobody was killed. It's just people got offended. It's insanity.
Doesn't matter. Realities don't matter. Facts don't matter. We're living in the same time period that like the ancient Romans were in. It's just the method of killing everybody who disagrees with you is different.
Yeah, and the
human society is the same as it's always been.
The Roman analogy is great for America, in my opinion. When it became
it's the oldest one, people have always used that one.
And the way the downfall of Rome happened was when it became a bunch of about debauchery. And this is from somebody that it's not even about like the
this
fact.
Is from
that
somebody who carries a dildo in his pocket. For God's sakes.
It is. Oil. It is Rejuvenique oil.
Yeah, you do have to have oil to use it. I get that.
No, look, it opens, you put a little dabble on, and then you put a little oil on your face.
Dude, you're using my computer. I can change everything you just did.
Let's get back to Yeezy. So you own his shoes. Great. And I'm half Jewish, to be honest. And like you've seen all the anti-Semitic shit that's come out, like that he said. Do you think it's actually anti-Semitic, or do you think it's truth?
Give me one example of one of the anti-Semitic.
He was talking about the school system. He was talking about all of the rappers are beholden to their Jewish masters because that's the industry.
Technically, Soros is a Jew.
Technically, the whole industry is Jewish. I'm not offended by it. People have lost their shit. Like,
of course they can, because like they will. The anti-Semitic thing is such a tricky. Is it though? Because no one even like most of the people in my age demographic and younger don't even recognize what happened in the Holocaust or can't even recite anything about it. But a
bunch of Jewish people died in a condensed period of time. Yeah, and it was a really shitty period, and
really horrible.
And the Jewish population did a great job banding together afterwards and going to business with each other and making it happen. There was prejudice, and people moved past it. Is it to be compared to the black race? Probably not, but for a condensed period of time, there was nothing worse that happened to a people.
Yeah, see, now you're getting to the slavery topic, and it's like, here's the problem with that topic.
I already know where you're going.
Well, it's not even just black, but I mean, every single race category of human beings throughout history has held slaves,
including black people, including
mostly.
Africans. Most, yeah.
And I mean, and there's many, many, many more. In fact, most people don't even realize or recognize like the British people are the ones who got rid of slavery first and got it out of there before it ever came here. But our country is only 200 some years old.
Yeah,
getting 300 years old. It's like this slavery thing has been going on for millenniums. This is not a new concept.
The first slave trader in the modern era of slavery, which I would say like the 1600s, was African.
Yeah. Nigerian princes have been enslaving people forever. I mean, every sect of African people enslaved other African people.
Yeah.
There's white people who enslaved other white people. There's brown people who enslaved some white people.
Native Americans.
Persians, for fuck's sake, enslaved every single race of human trying to take out what we call the Western world.
Yeah.
They literally had millions of slaves that marched on to everyone's seen Gerard Butler in 300. Like, you want to, those people saved the Western world, really, back then at those hot gates or whatever the hell they called it. They were. But, I mean, slavery, people just are stupid now.
So what's your opinions on reparations?
Oh, dude, you're going to get me canceled. That's probably what's going to happen. But that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm not accountable for what my fucking parents did. My kids aren't accountable for what I did. I'm damn sure not accountable. You aren't accountable. Any person of any other race, color, creed, religion, sect, it doesn't matter. No one is accountable for the actions of somebody before them.
So here's another funny thing about reparations and people,
and they don't work.
Well, and it's impossible to track. Kamala Harris is a perfect example of first off, she's
never put black people behind bars.
San Francisco. But no, the thing with her is she was a product, and it wasn't even black. It was more of like an Indian black, but whatever. She was a product of rape, essentially, generations before. So then so she's half slave owner, half slave. Go ahead. Yes,
me and Coach.
Chance.
We have a great example of reparations being executed in the modern world,
Yeah.
semi-modern world. Native American people.
Mm-hmm.
They got all their land stolen from them. They got these reparations. Have you ever been to a reservation?
Yeah.
It is one of the saddest, most disturbing. It's worse than Southside Chicago on most of these reservations. You're looking at decrepit trailer houses with some type of horse with a hoof coming out of their head sitting out there, and people drinking whiskey and having no life, no humanity. They have their culture. And I am 8% Native American, so that's
I remember hearing it.
That's enough to be in a tribe. Therefore, I am actually allowed to speak on this based on the verbiage. And that is basically, it's actually a lot more than what the equivalent of this was, at $24,000 of a reparation would be. It's a lot more. And it's done nothing but keep the Native American people down for a century.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Who gets the money off of the casinos when they're out? I mean, in a lot of the reservations.
So whoever's specific people
is
who
it
had
the
enough
top?
money. Yes.
So
it doesn't get
and
distributed.
They don't share it?
The wealth doesn't get distributed.
It's terrible.
No. It's not a good thing. Like, I'm a big fan, and other people have said this, but of a hand up, not a handout. And as soon as you start handing people money, look what happened with these stimulus checks. Yeah, like savings accounts are down 33% since 2020 right now. And people got handed a bunch of money that they then got taxed on. They got handed back their own money that they paid on. They spent it on whatever they thought was a good. I'm going to put this as a down payment on a camper. I'm going to buy a house, even though, it's not a good idea right now, or a new car or whatever. We're seeing the financial repercussions. I mean, I did some of this dumb shit myself. Yeah. Like, we're seeing the repercussions of these handouts, and all it does is keep us beholden to our quote-unquote masters. You want to talk about slavery? We are living it. It's just a different type.
Absolutely.
It's never went away.
Yeah, and I mean, with inflation numbers as they are right now, and the way that, I mean, and it's funny because you watch. So I mean, I have all the apps on my phone that does the news breaks, and when you've got today, and this is probably 4 weeks ago when you're watching it, you got today Jeff Bezos talking about what the financial perils of the recession that we're in. I love that the news got released at and this is a very specific reason, at 3:21. Why does that matter? You have to be a big money investor to do trading after hours. So he's able to make sure that and people don't, I think a lot of people don't pay attention to this. Some of the big money investors, they will make the news drop after the markets close because they can manipulate things afterwards, which is legal for them. For us, if somebody just invested a bunch in Amazon middle of the day, or invested in the stock market middle of the day, and that news comes out, I guarantee you futures, because Bezos and a couple other people said that the economy is going to shit, tomorrow is going to be a bad day on the market. The more money they have, and the more closely rooted they are to the government, the more they can play the game, and the more they squash everyday people's 401ks and whatever.
I think the stupidest thing you could do right now is be maxing a 401k. In fact, I don't think anybody should have any amount of, whether you're getting a paycheck or you're doing it via Ross or what have you. If you have a basic understanding of investment, I think you get your money out of 401ks, right? Get it into private investment, get it into real estate or whatever you can. I mean, it sounds silly, but go watch some fucking Grant Cardone videos and follow a little bit of that shit. Like, it might sound silly, but that dude knows what he's talking about.
He does, and he can simplify it pretty good. He's not a smart guy.
No, he's a salesman. He's just a salesman.
Brilliant in the very basic math of real estate investing. Plain and simple.
But I mean, your market, your capital that you've been investing in a 401k right now, or for most of your life, is not controlled by you. It's determined by this false creation, which is Wall Street, that these billionaires and really some trillionaires get to control, and they're utilizing your money to do it. And it's just a fucked up system, and people always criticize billionaires for why Bezos could use a 1/100th of his income and solve world hunger. You got to ask your question, well, why wouldn't he? Yeah, because he knows shit you don't know. 100%. The world is operating at a different level than any normal person is functioning on.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on. Even switched on people like you, or even myself to a degree, like we know something's up, but we don't really know what's up.
We know what's up. We know something's up, but we also don't. It's above our pay grade to know how to actually get involved in it. The at that next 4D chess level that that we can't. So let's talk business, because I know you talk a lot about entrepreneurialism. You've built the 8-figure businesses. You were raised pretty poor, right?
Yeah. Horse training parents, and you've been in that world. You know what that means. And not the it's a different industry back then, but I mean certainly not the level of horse trainer that are actually very good, very respected. Everybody knows who they are, but poor. That's a poor man's game. Straight up horse trainer.
And you guys didn't even own the horses you had. Like you were
some of them,
just a couple.
Maybe. But I mean we're talking about outside horses. Yeah, training outside horses for other people. You can't guarantee when you're going to get paid. They can't guarantee you're going to ride them necessarily, but it's a fucked up deal.
Yeah,
and that's how we grew up.
So you were raised with in the ranch lifestyle and the western lifestyle. Why'd you leave it?
Because I don't want to be poor.
Yeah. So
probably to my detriment, I've learned as I've gotten smarter and older. But I mean, and been burned. Thought the most important thing that I could do is get wealthy to avoid that pain and that shame of not having money.
Yeah.
Which is a construct. But that pain hurts as a child, and it's unhealthy to associate your value with money, and I've done that for a huge portion of my brief life. I mean, I truly have. And you'll even see shifts over the last 3 years of me doing my podcast where you see that change, where I start putting less value on monetary. I mean, because I recently got horribly burned, like third degree burns.
What field? What industry? Well,
yeah, I can't get into it right now because of legal reasons. But
yeah.
Horribly burned and hurt and things I didn't think were even possible that could happen. And
I had to sue my best friend back in 2010. So yeah.
And it hurts and it sucks, and you get to reevaluate where your values are.
Yeah.
And do I still think that you need to have some level of wealth? Yes, because you can't help anyone. You can't solve anybody if you're poor and broke. You can't. So you do need to have a level of wealth and asset and financial freedom to be able to affect good change. That's just the tool of our age. And that's all money is. It's a tool.
Yeah.
A carpenter can't put the nails in the roof without a hammer. You can't affect change or buy the things you need or help people if they need help if you don't have that tool of money. But if you get an unhealthy relationship with it, you start coveting it, you start putting it above relationships, you start prioritizing monetary gain over people and emotional stability, then you've got a real problem.
Yeah. And
I almost fell into that.
And I've listened to some of your older shows compared to the newer shows. And it's interesting that now knowing that that's kind of the shift that you've gone through in your mind, and even that you being burned, you have it's interesting. The less, and I think maybe it is a young thing too, because I made way more money 8 years ago than I do now as a 40-year-old, but you are much more confident in your interviews now. Bar none. And it's not just getting better at the podcast. It's just who you are as a person. I think that's part of it, is realizing money is a tool. Money is not everything, is a big deal. You did say something, and I don't know which one of the podcasts. It might have been the one where you were a guest, talking about money, or talking about just being essentially driven. And you said something that I talk to Kelly about all the time. It's that whole philosophy of people like, you can't work. What is it? You can't live to work, but you work to live, or whatever, the way you flipped it. But fact is, if you are passionate about the business that you are in, there is a period of time you have to live to work, plain and simple.
We're called to duty as human beings. I mean, we truly are called to duty. And it's funny, I've done several podcasts today. But there's a whole thing, and social media is the problem. We see these fucking morons who have viral videos who get millions of dollars for no good reason, and then they become slaves to this whole thing somebody gets a hold of them, they keep putting out content. They don't have any real fans. No one actually gives a shit about them.
Yeah.
But they become a slave to that money and are so attached to what they perceive as valuable. I've done it.
Yeah.
I thought having a 911 and a brand new truck and a brand new trailer and a big house and all that shit is the most important thing. And I mean, it's nice, but
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I still think like being proud of where you live and having nice things it's an okay thing as long as you're not sick in your head about it. As long as you're not covetous. Because when you start coveting things, you start becoming a bad person.
Yeah, you're different.
You become a bad person, and I mean, like if you covet money, you'll do anything to protect it. I've learned that.
Yeah.
I've learned that like the hard way because I never have coveted money. I could take it or I could leave it. The problem with not coveting money in some senses, you will blow insane amounts of it on stupid shit. But
yeah,
like if you put money on this pedestal above everything, you're giving a piece of your soul away to something that will leave you at some point.
Yeah.
It will. And even if you have $1 billion in the bank, if you die with that alone, is it really worth all the investment? No, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky topic.
Where are we at on time? All right, real quick, for those that are watching on the Area 52 TV, continue to watch. We're kind of at his schedule. So I
got all the time in the world now
sweet.
that we're done with those other shows.
Sweet. We might have a long night. So make sure you're following on youtube.com/C/Blunt Force Discussion for the rest of the conversation. For those watching on that program, where can people find all your stuff?
So if you want to find us on social media, it's at The Gauge Podcast, TikTok, The Gauge Podcast. Does anybody use Facebook? I don't know. The Gauge Podcast on Facebook.
We have an older audience.
YouTube, The Gauge Podcast. If you want to look at me personally, it's at Chance Conrado. I don't post very much on Instagram, but I get a lot of engagement. So, that's something.
Find Chance there. Find The Gauge there. And again, awakenotwokestore.com, 15% off by using Awake. And then patreon.com/Blunt Force Discussion. And we will be right back with probably a decent amount more because it's like we're just kind of getting to know each other via interview live. We'll catch you on that.
Got all the time in the world, folks.
Boom. And we are back. So it's funny. I haven't even touched on anything because we've just been, it is kind of a fun way to do a podcast to just kind of get to know somebody that I know. Kelly was like, you're going to like Chance. So you guys got to get to know each other.
Yeah.
We get to do it live. We get to do it that way. And literally we have gone in every single direction. I don't think we finished a single conversation, but we just keep chatting.
I have ADD. It's just the way I work and I fuck people's shows up.
No.
Every time I'm a guest on somebody's show, I fuck up whatever they came in with.
No. And I always have kind of a loose format anyways, but I'm going to name this show the ADHD show.
Do it, dude. I've never, ever had one of those in front of me for a podcast before.
I've never scratched out less on a podcast.
I had a feeling that might happen.
But it's good because we have a lot of similar ideologies. And one of the things that I want to talk about was the word grace that you talked about with Tim Kennedy. And we touched on it before with being a liberal what did I say? Liberal, classic liberal, constitutional liberal, especially with this day and age in Texas, because we started with Texas politics and why this is a iffy election. We both think poorly of Abbott, but we still think he's a little bit better than Beto in some ways. Are you not even sure on that?
No, I know he's better than Beto. I hate that you were forced into a position where you have to choose the lesser of two evils.
It's better than Georgia.
What's not better than Georgia? They still have golf courses black people can't go on, for God's sakes. They boil their peanuts. Like, somebody's going to be mad at me. But what the fuck? Why are you boiling peanuts?
I like the Cajun kind, though. I like spicy.
Yeah.
But
peanuts aren't even a nut.
At this point, they're so GMO'd that you're literally eating poison by eating peanuts.
Only one thing worse than peanuts, it's corn. If you're eating corn, you're freaking in a bad way.
Unless you are at a organic corn farm. Is there organic corn farms?
Yeah, find one. Good luck.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's all Monsanto's corn because they can't afford anything else.
My daughter is Nebraska based, so it was a College World Series baby is what happened. We were never dating, by the way, and that was a decision we had to make. And I think this is an interesting topic in terms of the way that the conservative side views abortion. And and I think Kennedy kind of brought it up too. And I don't know how quite you answered it, but I think that's a very dangerous thing in voting across the country right now, is the fact that the right side has gone so hard on being pro-life. And I am certainly not pro-abortion. There's no way I can say that I'm pro-abortion.
Not if you have a child.
Right. But am I pro-choice for somebody? And again, I'm going to refer to Kennedy. He had a perfect example. I don't know what somebody else's life is going through. I do think there should be limits in terms of, like, you can't be like at 3 months, like, I don't want an abortion. 5 months, you're like, I do, maybe I don't. 7 months, like, I'm going to go ahead and get one now. I think that's a little bit ridiculous. But being somebody that does a lot of conservative shows, that has a lot of conservative followers, that talks about having slightly pro-choice ideology to an extent, I have a lot of people reach out. And a lot of those conservatives, one of their top voting items is pro-choice, and they're the newer conservatives, and that's a struggle for them to be as strict as Texas law, which is not even the heartbeat anymore. It is this lockdown, nobody type situation. Do you think that's a problem for the conservatives across the country, not just in Texas?
I go way more nefarious. Like, I think it was put in place by liberal politics
to make sure the midterms don't go the way we think it will.
Yeah, if you make the conservatives so far right that it's unvotable, then you pretty well turn the state blue.
Yeah.
Just because of the way things have gone. I mean, I literally think our political system is that nefarious. I think most of the politicians who claim Republican aren't. You know, there's something funny I heard that Marco, and I've probably referenced this before, his wife is a Democratic lobbyist. How are
Marco
you,
Rubio?
Yeah. How are you a Republican senator in Florida and your wife's a Democratic lobbyist? How can you sit at dinner together with the way you guys
portray? It's like
portray?
Kellyanne Conway. It's like, how does she do that?
Yeah. Means there's bullshit going on. Yeah. I don't necessarily know that there's a true right and a left. There might be some people, but they're all insider trading. They're all working together. It's like if you're truly bought and sold in on one side, that's the problem. We only have two fucking choices.
Yeah.
But that's what I think's going on. I think that they've done that in Texas, and Abbott's probably getting paid out on it. I mean, he doesn't give a fuck. He's ready to roll his wheelchair to Cabo and get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Like,
win, lose, or draw, he's in good shape.
He doesn't give a shit, dude.
Yeah.
He's been in politics long enough. He's good.
He's loaded.
Yeah. And it just doesn't make sense. If winning office is your play, you don't go that right wing.
Right.
And regardless of what I think, because I think it is completely and totally disgusting how far abortion's gone, and if you actually study the history of it, it's like the problem is nobody knows anything. Everyone's so fucking, like, no one's really that evil.
Yeah.
Really, they're just dumb.
Yeah.
Like, we're not dealing with evil people.
Few.
These
not as the
tippy
bulk.
top.
Yeah.
We are, but
right.
Here where we're at,
yeah.
Below even where we're at least there, you have connections, and I have some connections where we can learn a few things.
Yeah.
Like, I can at least phone a senator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can do the same, or
right.
talk to someone at a level of like a Tim Kennedy or like a Rogan or somebody, and actually like reach people through those paths to figure some things out.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in this middle tier of people, but everybody else, like, you're normal, you're a teacher, you're a cop, someone who has no connections to what's going on even a little bit, they don't know the difference.
Yeah.
They really don't. And you know, it's not evil. Your trans person isn't evil. They're just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Your bleeding heart liberal with their purple fucking hair who's out there screaming Black Lives Matter with the palest skin you've ever seen, who has not looked at any of what was going on with that facade. They're not evil. They think they're on the right side of morality. They're just fucking dumb.
So you think it's not nefarious?
What, the abortion thing?
No, I'm saying the people that are dumb.
That individual's intent.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think Ty, who produces our podcast, who is very far left, is evil? I know he's not evil. I've employed him in 2 different jobs. He's not evil. He thinks he's on the right side of morality.
So that's a great question. So I mean, I got to meet him earlier. Super nice guy. Like when you get political on your show, and you don't get political too often, like,
I try not to because people don't like it.
Right. But
because I've tried to push my political views thinking I was going to make a difference, and I brought huge people on. I've brought huge people on, like Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, and people were like, fuck that.
It's crazy.
I don't want to listen to him.
It's nuts. And you're in the industry that most listens to you is typically conservative and right.
People don't want to hear it though.
Yeah.
Unless that is your shtick and that's all you do, and you didn't build your audience somewhere else. You grassroots built it like a Crowder or a Shapiro.
Yeah.
They come there for that at the right time.
Yeah.
Which was 8 fucking years ago, 10 years ago. We're past that.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while to build something like that. You know that. You've had great guests. You've had great guests, but people are bombarded with that information right now.
See, what am I thinking of right now? Hello. Prather. Thank you. Chad Prather, he's the one, he screwed me. And I'm going to tell you why. Because he's told a lot of people it's suicide to be a conservative pundit right now, to try to do that, to start up from scratch. He told a lot of people that. He told me the opposite. He's like, I like the way you're doing it. You should keep doing it. And I'm like, God dang it.
I mean, that's what I think you should keep doing it.
And I'm going to. But
you have to have a sense of duty that's above result.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're attached to the
financial,
not even the financial, but if you're fixated on the outcome instead of the journey, people say this shit all the time. I never tell people what to do. It's just what I think. I don't know shit. But if you're attached to the outcome and not the journey, you're constantly going to be doing shit for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if 1 person or 1 million people are listening to. If your message is good, you're doing something.
Yeah. You know, what was killer is when I was working. Do you know who Cashley Kelly was? Do you remember who he is? Yeah. So he's in the gulag still. But one of the cool things when we got all the letters together for the first judge when he was facing his sentencing from the being a gangbanger 10 years before, and the letters that came in, it was about both of us. It was predominantly about him, but it talked about the shows we did together, and people talked about how much. And I don't, again, like you said, I don't care if it's 5 people or 5,000 people. But we had about 100 responses, and there was a few people that said during 2020 they felt so alone in their political beliefs and their beliefs on the world that legit they were, just like we see how many people are committing suicide in today's world. I mean, that was one of the after effects.
And here's the thing that nobody talks about: most of them are men.
100%, because we don't allow, men aren't allowed to have emotions. Period. As much as they say you should have emotions, once they do, they're made fun of. We see what happened to Will Smith when he came out and like owned his shit. He was made fun of, which I don't agree with. I think we should talk about.
He's had it hard enough. Dude's been cuckolded by rappers.
No
shit. It's been tough.
Yeah.
But it's also his fault. You walk away from that tramp stamp.
You should. But there's a mental illness in that too. When he slapped the guy, that's worth talking shit a little bit about. But when he finally goes, I fucked up and I'm in a fucked up place, and he got more made fun of then than he did then. It's like that's not the way to deal with it.
Oh, yeah, men have it hard right now. And I mean, I'm not a crybaby for men thing, but I mean, look at the statistics and the facts. I mean, the standard that your average man has to uphold that he can't meet.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
And not to play victim, but as somebody that is now verbal about their political beliefs, my financial career has been squashed in a lot of different ways. Like NCAA stopped hiring me because they needed diversity hires, which is a total lie. I have it on recording. I recorded my call with the NCAA, but it's all because once I started voicing my political beliefs, and so all the NCAA championships I did, gone. 2, my auto show work with Nissan, they were legit telling me, well, because of your political beliefs, you can't manage anymore. Because you're divisive it could be deemed divisive on the team. You can't be on stage anymore, and you can't work press days. So they would have cut me back down 10 years back in pay when I've earned being a presenter on stage. Can't do it anymore. I'm like, eh. So there is a little attack on conservative white males.
Huge attack on conservative white males. And what I think white males, if we're going to go that route, need to do is they need to stop pursuing that type of thing, and they need to invest in trade.
Mm-hmm.
Own a construction company. Own an HVAC company. Own a company that you could build a 7-figure, 8-figure gross profit in.
Yeah.
Own that and utilize that to pursue this type of thing.
Yeah.
Invest your money in a trade, because that value, that what a college degree used to be, that's gone. A college degree doesn't mean dick.
Yeah.
Doctor, lawyer, engineer, fuck all.
Yeah.
Everything else. Trades work is a big deal, because we still need freaking hardcore motherfuckers to build bridges. We need
100%.
hardcore motherfuckers to build houses. We need hardcore motherfuckers to fix cars.
Yeah.
If you have asset, create a business.
Have you written a book yet?
Have I written one?
Yeah.
God, I want to so bad, but I just have so much ADHD.
I'm gonna set you up with. You never heard of Mike Fallett, have you?
No.
So his career boomed, and he's a phenomenal dude too. And he'll be out here in June for Great American Summit when we do that. But his whole business is creating books for people and making it like book in a box type situation. Like
He's a ghostwriter then?
It's a ghostwriter situation, but he was brilliant what he's done. So he sets up the bulk of the time, like still to this day, every person that he makes the book for, he's the one that does the bulk of the interviews, because now he gets these, it's essentially, business cards for some of them bestsellers. A lot of them have become bestsellers, but he's like, I'm essentially getting paid to get coaching from some of the most brilliant business minds in the country. And he's created over 100 books at this point. And he's a good dude. And it's not a bad price to just get involved with it. And honestly, it's like you have brain vomit and you get it out in a book.
He writes the book himself.
Not him. So he takes all the notes, and then they have the
all right,
rights.
So here's the question. How much right to that book's profits do you give up?
None. You pay an upfront fee, and it's not bad.
Really?
I think it's in the, to be honest, I think it's right around 10. It could be worse, and that includes a lot of books. Wow. So yeah, you keep the rights to the books. And
wow. Yeah, I mean, my number one goal is to produce some literary work, but I don't think it would be necessarily a business book. I think it would be a improvement type thing.
He's got a wide variety of clients, and it's interesting too. So he also does, like, the way it's not just the upfront money. He'll help with, like, he's built affiliates in every industry, which is, again, also a really smart way to deal with stuff right now. And he gets a cut of when he goes, well, if you want to sell more books, or if you want to do more speaking of the books, like the ClickFunnels, he's got a percentage of that too. He's done a really great job. And his biggest thing, his business skyrocketed when he finally said, fuck it, this world is going to shit because of this, that, and the other. The things that cancel most people, it's blown his business up.
We need more books. Like, I mean, we need it. People need, that's why I think podcasting might be the most valuable entity, period. Is just because people will tune in for long form conversation. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much pride myself on the principles of discipline and being a fucking man.
Yeah,
because there's just not a lot of that.
No, truth.
I mean, I would love to have a book or an email list or something where I put pen to paper or finger to keyboard and produce something that actually helped people.
Yeah.
That's always been my goal with the podcast. Our podcast earns a pretty healthy income, but I've to this day taken 0 cent out of the podcast.
All goes back into it.
All of it, yeah. And I mean, pays salaries, and my business partner, Dustin, he has never taken a dime of it either. And I mean, he upfronted the cash for it, which was no small amount for all this shit. So.
No, it's a badass spot. I'm going to mark off June 2nd and 3rd in your calendar. Because that's the great. So last year we had... I don't know if Kelly even talked much about it yet, but we had in January, because we'd only been dating about a year at that point. But we had, for a first event, we had people like Bedros, and I'll have it as like a gauge comes, and you can pick interviews out. And we're talking Bedros, Ray Cash Care, Yaku Boyens, some huge names. We managed to get, and the event was all supposed to be for nonprofit. We didn't quite match. We didn't quite even get the cost settled. It was right in the beginning of Omicron, which was bullshit. But we're going to have a big event this year, and I think we'll have just as big a names, possibly even Elena Cardone, some other big names in this one. But
that sounds good.
Yeah, and you'll have some fun at that event. Yeah. So I'll make sure you're there, because that'd
be great.
Like, in this world, again, like you said, it's not even if you've got the businesses that are succeeding, being able to interact with these other men, and that's why I actually started losing weight and I've never been fat, but according to Kelly, that's a lie. But I've never been fat. Bedros looked into the crowd when he was speaking, and he's like, I'm looking around this room, and if we think we're going to war in any way, shape, or form, I wouldn't go to war with any of you. Like, talking about physical health. And I think physical health is part of being a man these days. Like, and we've treated our bodies like shit.
Number 2 or 3 things on my entire list of existence is physical fitness and health and well-being and the way you eat.
How do you work out?
How?
Yeah, what do you do?
I'm a 4:30 in the morning guy before I do anything else.
Son of a bitch.
When I was on my Fort Worth schedule, I was a 6 a.m. guy, but because of my current schedule, I have had to bump that back about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I guess that's 2.5 hours. Fuck.
To get everything done.
To get everything done. So no matter what, I'm in the gym. I used to live up here in Keller not 3 months ago. Yeah. Lifetime is right there. It took me no time to get to the Lifetime gym. You pass it when you went to Roanoke.
Yeah.
Now, where I'm at, I got to drive 30 minutes to get to the gym. Doesn't fucking matter. I don't care if I have to ride 10 horses if I have 30 meetings. My ass is in the gym first thing in the morning.
How big's your house?
House? Not big enough. Well, I mean,
Can you put a mini gym in?
I don't want one. It's the accountability of going to the gym. I'll never have a home gym because there's an excuse built into a home gym.
Really?
Yeah. There's an excuse built into that. If you have to get up in the morning, if you have hair, you need to rinse your fucking self off, put some clothes on, brush your fucking teeth, get out there, drink 24 ounces of water at least to make up for your sleep-deprived dehydration. Mm-hmm. Take a pre-workout if you're that guy, because I got to have a pre-workout that early, and get your ass to the gym. There's a level of accountability when you see other people in there working out, even if they're fat slobs too. They got their ass up, they're in there. But, I mean, I'm a lift heavy as you can and get your shit done.
No cardio?
No, there's no reason to do cardio if you're lifting weights the right way.
God damn it.
You know what? You know the
Kelly,
problem with
don't
cardio?
watch this part.
You know the problem with cardio, in my opinion? If you look at statistics, long distance runners, they have an average life expectancy of like 55 years.
It's younger.
Is it 50?
No, it's 55. It's younger than the average. You're right.
Way younger than the average sedentary human, actually.
Yeah.
And that's for like ultra marathon type runners. Yeah. So the reason I don't think your average person needs cardio is you can never, basically for like, if you eat 500 calories, see, I get nerded as fuck on this stuff.
You're good.
It's super important. The way you look, the way your body operates is one of the most important things.
Yeah.
You've got two things that you can't replace. One is your time. The other is your health. Everything else, money, women, men, if you're a woman, you can all replace.
Yeah.
You can't replace your wealth. You can't replace your time, and you can't replace your health. You can't replace your wealth. But it's important.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if you're going to sacrifice, it's going to sound bad because you carry that shiny thing in your pocket. But, I mean, if you're going to sacrifice.
It's not in my pocket. It was in a bag. It was
in your back pocket. I was like, why is that thing going off?
Turn it off.
Shut it off because it's vibrating on the table, and I'm getting
if we ever oddly travel together, I'm throwing a dildo in your carry-on just to mess with you when you go through TSA.
I think you're only allowed to have 3. My bag's full. But like you, if you're gonna sacrifice the way you look and the way you feel about yourself for 30 fucking seconds of mouth pleasure that you're gonna regret in 10 minutes, you've got a discipline problem.
Yeah,
and we all have it at different times. I mean, it is really hard to put down the popcorn or that freaking chocolate cake at a steakhouse. It's like, fuck, I would kill somebody for that.
It's funny. That's not my vice in food, but it's everybody's got their vice in food. But once in a while, they want to do it.
It's designed to be horrifyingly addictive.
Yeah, a lot of foods are. I mean, that's all the chemicals we put in.
But nothing feels good as feeling good, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%.
And looking good, like, we live in this world where, like, you're getting all this exposure from a bunch of different things. And, like, if you have enough discipline to make sure that you at least look halfway decent with your clothes off, you're going to be more effective everywhere else.
Yeah.
Because you feel good about one aspect of your life. And that's one thing, if you're broke or you have nothing or you feel like you have nothing, you do have control of your health.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a great starting point.
Every so often you see like the like almost like chiseled jaw, good in shape homeless people on the side of the street, and you're like, why is he homeless? I'm so confused.
Diet. He doesn't get anything to eat. Like, the number one determining factor in how you look is not the way you work out, whether you do 20 reps per set or 5 reps per set. It is what you eat.
Yeah.
And you have a kind of a preset from birth physique for what you're going to be able to thrive at.
Right.
You know, if you have really thick ankles and thick wrists and broad shoulders and long collarbones, you're probably going to be pretty good at football, right?
Yeah.
If you're thin and you're narrow and you're a certain way, maybe you'll be good at long distance running. Like, we all have a certain biological advantage. You know, I actually have the long distance runners. Yeah.
Like, I'm a little too tall for it. But like, do you ever seen the meme of the French bulldog standing up, like with the little butt and that's my body. And Kelly will remind me. So I'm an optical illusion. I look like I'm in decent shape. And I also, if you see me on a treadmill, I can bump out like 6-minute miles. It looks really weird because I'm a bigger guy. But I am an actual, and I am an optical illusion, like with and without clothes, two completely different things. But I've always been a long distance runner, and you follow David Goggins. I get what you're saying. It's not physically, it's not as it doesn't build the body as much as it should. Like David Goggins doesn't have like a body people would drool over because he's super skinny and it's like all wiry muscle.
He's doing ultra marathons.
He's doing ultra marathons. I've never done the ultras, never been wanted to. I've never had shin problems, which for 6'2" and 200 something pounds is pretty shocking. But to me, there is a mental aspect of it. I would actually encourage, even though I don't think it's healthy per se, if people want to push their mind to do one marathon in their life.
If you want. I would also say, like, hey, try to make sure you can bench 275 for 5.
Can you bench 275?
Yeah, dude. And I weigh 160 pounds.
You son of a bitch.
But I lift weights all the fucking time.
Yeah.
But I also can, like, sprint faster than most people my age. And I have a certain, like, I am built like this, V. And, like, so it means that I can bail off of a horse if he flips over. I mean, like, I'm very athletic in a certain way. But I'm also only fucking 5'9", 5'10" if I got cowboy boots on, you know? Like, it's a certain type of body. And, you know, my dad's 6'2", and my grandpa was 6'4". I didn't get that. But luckily I made up for it with good wit, good looks, and a halfway decent physique. But yeah. I could be a fat piece of shit. The only reason that I look the way I look is because I go to the gym without excuse. Drives my wife in fucking insane because she's like, shut the fuck, I can hear the ice machine at 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, you're not my problem. I have goals. Mm-hmm. But everything you put in your mouth, it's correlation and causation, just like anything else. If you eat like shit, you look like shit, which means you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I met your sister once. Is she tall? I don't think she's tall.
Ivy?
Yeah.
What's your definition of tall
for a
girl?
woman? Like 5'7" and up.
She's like 5'5", 5'6".
Yeah. I mean,
my sisters are relatively tall.
Yeah.
And, you know, my dad was pretty tall until he hit 50. Everybody shrinks at 50.
Yeah. I got 10 years left of being tall.
Yeah, dude, you can, there's things you can do to make sure you don't shrink. But you can do it? You're asking?
What is it?
So just keep your spine. Decompress your spine.
Oh, okay.
No,
I thought there was some weird.
Like literally,
I thought you were gonna be like, you can
literally hang every day. I do that at the gym because, like, dude, when I put my boots on, like, I'm 5'10" with my boots on.
Yeah.
By that extra inch, I need that. So I mean, there's no way I'm shrinking down to 5'7".
Kelly always tells me I need that extra inch too, but different. Very different.
Very different. Hence we always go back to it, but you won't put it away. You refuse to. So you're asking for this one overused joke.
Stack that.
That's great.
People can't see it. I think that it's out of the camera angle, so you don't even know.
I don't even know.
I don't know what I don't know what this asshole's talking about. Oh, okay. Let's. You know what? I never bring out the phone, but Kelly texted. Let's see what she's got. Let's see what. I probably need to do something. I knew y'all would hit it off. Did you text her?
No.
Does she have a camera on us at all time?
Us? There's no us. There's you.
Can she hear us talking? That's weird. How does she know?
Did you post something on social media?
I didn't even touch my phone except for to look at the show notes.
Does she have Find Your Friend?
Yeah, she knows I'm here.
Oh, great. Then that's probably it. She's a woman. She's more intuitive than us.
And we started at 7. I guess she probably still sees we're here. Yeah,
must mean.
Yeah. That must be it. So speaking of your sister, and again, if this is something we have to not talk about, but she's gone through some shit this year.
It's been horrible.
Are you okay talking about it?
I am. She aired it out on social media.
Yeah.
For, like, I think that post went as viral as a barrel racer post ever goes. So.
I think we live in a world that is a perfect example of the fact that we are helpless until shit goes way too wrong. This girl should be in jail, period.
She's not.
I know.
She's even perpetuating a story that she didn't do it. And some people, maybe somebody's believing it. But, I mean, you can look at the girl and you know there's a problem there.
Yeah.
And there's so many fucking rodeo people who on their profiles were tagged taking photos with this girl. I don't know her. I don't know what her fucking problem is, meaning mentally.
And it is a mental illness.
It's a mental illness.
Let's be very clear.
And she looks it. She looks the part. But the governing bodies, the PRCA and whatnot, they won't do a damn thing.
And the police won't either.
You know how many police departments that girl went to? A dozen.
For what? What did she go to the police department?
She took them all those messages. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
You read that shit, right?
Yeah, all of them. So
your
sister went to the police.
She went to the police because she called
the other
us.
girl then.
And Ivy is rock fucking solid. She's
Yeah.
been through some shit and come out strong.
Yeah.
This girl turned her out of rodeos, affected her income, threatened her life.
So that
her
is
animal's
okay.
life.
So I didn't hear about. So all I heard about was, and that's.
There's more to it, dude. It's fucking crazy.
So Ivy just barely, and again, I got to meet her in I think Wyoming or Montana. Your sister's awesome. Like,
she's a G.
She's awesome.
She's a G.
And
Misunderstood G.
Super, and she has a dog too, right? She was traveling, I think, with the dog.
Yeah, that's what she takes.
Yeah, and
What barrel racer doesn't have a Australian Shepherd miniature version?
Yeah. So it was great meeting her. And then, so what I knew before recently, and somebody told me, no, it went past that. And I don't think it was you when we were messaging. But she got, what I had been told, she just got threatened. And I saw those messages. I saw that she was, she couldn't sleep at night because this girl's like pretty much saying where her trailer is, but she got turned out of rodeos as well.
Turned out. So this girl got into her WPRA, and most of your listeners are going to, what the fuck is that? Yeah. Women's Pro Rodeo Association. I know y'all don't care about rodeo probably, but here, just.
They do not, because they know Kelly, so they've actually gotten into it. They watch her runs.
You get it. But, that's the governing body for professional women's rodeo athletes, and this girl got into her account where you go and you enter the rodeos. You pay large sums of money to enter. You've seen how much it costs to enter some of these rodeos, hundreds of dollars for the entry fee. That doesn't include the travel and everything. And Ivy does it at the highest of levels. So even some of them are even more. In the $700 to $800 to $900 ranges for entry fees. And this girl was going in there after Ivy had paid her entry fees and turning her out. What is turning her out? Meaning removing her from that event.
So she'd show up. So Ivy would show up and she.
What the fuck? I'm turned out? Yeah.
Wow.
And so that was one thing. Here's the thing that happened before. And this is the fucked up. Well, the death threats is the most fucked up. I'm going to kill your dog and hang it on your trailer. There's a hitman, a military-trained hitman. First of all, military-trained hitman aren't going to announce to you that they're a military-trained hitman.
Yeah. It's called an imaginary friend.
Yeah. Yeah, she probably has one of those, too. His name. Oh, whatever. It's probably bigger.
Yeah, she unfortunately probably calls it Ivy, which is even creepier.
That's very creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, why Ivy, though, by the way? I mean, come on. Yeah. But I get it. It's just, stuff like this has happened to my sister since she was in high school. She is just gets targeted. I don't know. It's fucking weird. But regardless. So before that, Ivy had a huge fan page on Instagram, like 50, 60,000 people fan page.
Because she's been in multiple NFRs. She's been
many times, a $1 million earner by the time she was 24. But she had the biggest fan page in rodeo. The biggest. Not the biggest Instagram herself, but fan page, she had the biggest one. Yeah. This girl built up this crazy cult-like following on this fan page. Might be an exaggeration on the cult-like part, but C-U-L-T cult, not C-O-L-T for the horse people. But she was getting compensated and getting product from Ivy's sponsors. Thousands of dollars worth of product. We're talking boots and reins and blankets and saddles and all the things that go to their horse, feed, whatever else. Pretending to be Ivy, engaging with her sponsors, getting them to send her stuff. Finally, Ivy had heard from some of these people, like, why? What? We already sent you stuff. I was like, what? No, you didn't. What? It's the fan page girl. She was pretending to be two 13-year-old girls and pretending to be Ivy to get compensated. So we all banded together, got this Instagram page taken down. That's when this girl started targeting Ivy and started coming at her from, this death threat angle. Because Ivy fucked up her free fucking party. This girl worked for the American Rodeo. She worked for the PRCA. Like, it's no wonder she was able to get her logins and, guess her passwords or whatever.
She had back-end access.
I don't know those details.
You would assume.
One would assume. So.
And how far? Ivy was top 20 this year. She was just out of qualifying, right?
Yeah, I mean, how great would you perform 30 hours from your home alone with people threatening your life, sending you pictures of yourself.
Yeah.
Wondering, is this bitch about to kill me?
Yeah.
You think you're going to perform under pressure?
And then
in Washington and Oregon and California and Idaho and Calgary, for fuck's sake.
And she was threatening the horses too.
Threatening to kill the horses, threatening to kill her dog, threatening to do stuff to her husband, to me, to our mom, to my other sister.
And then turning her out. So when she got turned out, was she able to actually, on those, she just showed up and just couldn't compete?
No, you turn out, you're out.
because they filled a spot.
They filled the spot. It's done. And so, yeah, I mean, Ivy got the short end of the stick, and it was a rough year before even that. And she was on the bubble, which is, for those who don't know, in professional rodeo, specifically barrel racing and the rest of the events in rodeo, it's the top 15 who get to go to the National Finals Rodeo. The National Finals Rodeo is the first week of December, 10 days really. But that's where people make the bulk of their positive income because it costs an insane amount. You go to the gas pump, imagine if you're driving 70,000 miles a year.
Thanks a lot, Joe Biden.
Let's go, Brandon.
Diesel is insane right now.
It's hurtful if you have a diesel truck. It hurts.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And so she's traveling all these places, and that's what I actually tell people. They're like, "Oh, Kelly," because she did really good last weekend at the finals for.
Dude, I've been seeing her name a bunch.
Yeah, she's been doing great. It's still not profit positive. Like $7,000 is a kick in the bucket for what they. The real money is in the top 10 at the end of the year. Plain and simple. People that are, unless you're a Cassie Mowry.
She double dips. She rodeos and fraternities.
Futurities where there's a decent amount of
money.
A
lot more money and a lot less travel.
Correct.
Different deal.
But fact is that you have to be in the top 10 of rodeoers, if not the top 5, to truly be profit positive in this industry.
You have to make probably 50 to 200,000 at the National Finals Rodeo after you pay your taxes. Everything's done. You've paid people back. You paid off your credit card, fixed your trailer, handled your vet bills. Whatever you have to do to be square at the end of your taxable year after they garnish your income via tax for those winnings, to have net profited.
Yeah.
It ain't pretty. So,
that's what, and to go to what happened to your sister, it's like shit.
She's done all of hers with no benefactors, nobody helping from a financial standpoint. There's way more personal stuff, and you can listen to the Gage episode very first to hear about that. I mean, it was a tough road, and she's been 5 times. She's won an average championship. She's won over $1 million rodeoing before the age of 30, and for her to get targeted like this and have this shit show, it's just.
And to end this conversation about this girl, his fact is all this proof was thrown out there to police.
Police told her they couldn't do anything until the girl actually tried to kill her.
Which is, how insane is that?
It's not, to me, it's not. It's like, yeah, of course. Look what happened to Uvalde.
But that's the reason why this shit happens.
Exactly.
Because we're not there should be a level of common sense, and I've been screwed by somebody in a recent business with Turo where it's like it should be so easy to be like
Turo, the car renting app?
Yeah. This guy, because he was managing a bunch of accounts, it should be this easy to be like, this dude, like look at the messages here, and he screwed 15 people, and it's still hard. Still very hard to, and he still won't be arrested for it. Like, I think your sister has a protective order against this girl. What the hell does that do?
Nothing.
Absolutely.
People get shot in the face with those.
That's part of our broken system.
Our system's extremely broken, but it goes even further. We allow incompetent people who have no merit whatsoever as a human being or in life to become police officers.
True.
There's no standard. We should be paying ex-military who pass mental health checks to make sure that they're good. We should be paying them 6-figure incomes to be police officers. It should be an esteemed position, not it's that or 7-Eleven. Guess I'm going to the academy, and these people who had low status in society, and generally were not the most savory human beings, they're allowed to go and they get this middle management job where they get to execute some power, carry a pistol, and be a fat piece of shit, and then they get to walk around in society and tell other people what to do, how to do it, and then what? You're surprised that in Uvalde, Texas, that these fat fucks were too cowardice to go save children's lives? You're really surprised by that? Oh, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the most pathetic people on planet Earth be cops. I've seen some amazing people.
I'm a big pro police person.
I'm pro police. Without
there's
police,
a lot of shitty. Not a lot. There's a decent amount of shitty police, the thing is,
I'm a pro what police are supposed to represent in that post.
Yeah.
Not necessarily all these individuals.
Well, the problem is, and I know a lot of good police officers that have been around for 20 years and they're retiring, and I would too. Like, why would you want to be a police officer?
Can't do your job.
Can't. There's no chase policies in major cities. It's insane. So the thing is, this defund the police movement, what they're doing is they're creating a very difficult position for decent human beings to want to join. And it's been like that for, I mean, again, like you said, there's some weak people that have joined.
There's some cities where it's been like that for 35 or 40 years. Look at the NYPD.
100%. Who would be a police officer right now? Either the asshole that only wants to beat the shit out of people that is like, fuck it, I don't give a shit, I'm going to get in there. Or the person that's like, I'm got purple hair, but I think I can make a difference. And they don't know how to assess a situation where they're going to have to be tough.
And they want them in the military, too.
It's a problem across the board. And again, you've got things where you got policy issues that are also awful. My Turo situation is policy very similar to the situation with your sister in a different way. They can't do anything. Their hands are tied. You've got... for me, for the Turo thing, because I gave up the ability to my car to this person, when he would not give it back, it was a civil dispute. They can't do anything. And once I read the paperwork, I understand why. Because if for some odd reason I file a police report and they see that it's a stolen, I couldn't get it as a stolen vehicle. So there's a backstory. It was a BMW, it was a couple BMWs, and I needed them to show that it was stolen in a police report so that I can turn on the app. I can get access to the app. They can always access it, but I can't have access if it's been locked out. They can turn it on internally if it's a stolen vehicle, so the police or me can find it. The police can't turn it into a stolen vehicle because if something happens, because it was a civil matter, if they turn it into a stolen vehicle and they see that license plate and it turns into a shootout because this guy, he pulls a weapon, they're liable for getting involved in a civil dispute. Their hands are tied, similar with your sister, which is just bullshit because in the end, it's going to take something legit that we hope that nothing bad happens for this girl to actually be arrested. Or in the state of Texas, she comes to her trailer at the wrong time and she gets blasted in the face. That's my wish. But because I'm sorry, there's some people that they're pure evil. They don't need to be on this planet.
There's a lot of them. Yeah, and I mean, it's a fine line. There's between evil and stupid, and there's bureaucrats in the middle.
Right.
And they make sure that line between evil and stupid gets really blurry. And it's really fucked. Our whole system is so fucked, but it was taken over at a certain point in time where it was designed to be fucked by the very people that we try to get away from.
Yeah. So we're talking a little bit about NFR. So I did want to ask a question. So,
sure.
I mean, you I know you did a lot of coverage when it was out in Dallas when they brought it out here.
Yeah. Every single night.
Yeah, you had
winners.
Yeah, I saw that.
Never again.
So I was going to ask you, do you think the NFR, if you had your pick, if you're like, all right, I'm helping plan this, do you think it stays in Vegas or do you think Dallas was a good spot to have it?
Vegas.
100% Vegas.
It was horrible. I mean, the venue itself was good, but there's no life, there's no scene. You had to travel from downtown Fort Worth where they had the Cowboy Christmas in the convention center. Sucked. All the way to Arlington. It's like a 40 to an hour long drive if you get stuck in that traffic on 20. Like, no, it doesn't work. In Vegas, you get your Uber, everything's tight, everything's close. You got the casinos, you got great restaurants. If you have a little money, you can go to Nobu. It's great.
So I was born in Vegas, funny enough. Never went to NFR when I was growing up. We're going to go this year, so I'm going to get to kind of see it in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think it should be. It's a special event. Now,
it's all about money.
Yeah.
PRSA will take the highest bidder. So
actually, you know what? I was out there one time for I met Kelly. I don't know if you know this. I met Kelly 10 years prior in Vegas. Actually,
she put you in the friend zone initially.
No, sorry. I was actually trying to hit on her friend Caitlin at the time.
Ooh,
and
Caitlin.
Caitlin turns out to be a leftist nurse. Thank God I didn't end up there. She's got a couple kids, but one of Kelly's best friends growing up. And
why wasn't Kelly good enough for you, Anthony? What the fuck?
She was busy.
Oh.
She wasn't an option.
Sounded like you were busy too. You knocked somebody up at a World Series game.
It was College World Series, first of all, and it was an accident.
That's worse.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. NFR. Is there a way to not for? Yeah, I was going to try to think of a good acronym.
By the way, if you get broken up with, it's not my fault.
No, we should be good. I mean, we'll fight. We'll have an argument about this, clearly.
But you could put it on me then. Kelly and I don't know each other well enough for her to be like, "Fuck you." Well, maybe, but she could. But it would just be like, sorry.
Your show's grown pretty big, and I try to tell her like I'm still very like neutered when I do certain conversations. There could be conversations that I could have about like my past. Does your wife get upset about if you ever bring up like ex-girlfriends and stories?
I don't really bring up ex-girlfriends, but my wife, yeah, she's been upset with many a things related to the gauge.
Yeah.
Mostly not being brought up as if she exists at certain times. Like, well, I'm not thinking about that, but I get where you're coming from.
That's funny. So Kelly's like, why don't you bring me up in certain things? But she doesn't want me talking anything about my past.
That's kind of the territory from a woman's good. A man, it's disgusting, but a woman's territory and peas on her, it's kind of hot.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the woman being territorial, but if the guy does it, it's for some reason it's off-putting, which is bullshit.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. So
you like Andrew Tate?
Do I?
Yeah.
I do like Andrew Tate to a point. I think
that got me thinking about Andrew Tate, and I was like, some of the stuff that he says.
I like Andrew Tate more than I like Kevin Samuels.
Kevin Samuels, rest in peace.
Yeah. I didn't I did not. I was not a fan of him, and I'm pretty sure he got vaccinated, by the way. But he also drank like 8 Red Bulls a day. Kevin Samuels, I think there is a weird hypocrisy in dudes that shame women for, like, the guy had multiple girlfriends, which, again, more power to you. But but
they go back to imperialism when they talk about that stuff.
And I can't get with it. Like, to me, he's a dick. Like, I do like the fact that he was looking at, the black people, and he's like, you got to be better. Like, you got to respect yourself more. And I dug that part of the message.
I'm not a manosphere guy.
And that's why Andrew Tate sometimes bugs me too. I think he's just funny, personally.
I think his character is unbelievable, and he's extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
And his, the way that he's able to articulate, although he got eaten alive by Pierce Morgan.
Yeah.
But, I like the message.
Yeah.
Some of it.
And his message is a little different.
Don't be a pussy is a great message.
It's a huge message. And his thing, and the funny thing is, anybody that's actually met him, like women that have dated him, have come out and been like, it's a show. And he's also a really good human being. And I think at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, is creating.
No one's ever come out granted, he's the one who said this, but no one's ever come out and been like, that dude raped me. And that's a pretty big thing when he's that famous.
Exactly. And he's always around women. Whereas Kevin Samuels, on the other hand, never got the rape thing, but he really made people feel like shit. And it's like, and to me, single parent mom, somebody raised by a single parent mom, somebody talks that much shit about, well, you're never going to find a man because you were a hoe and you did. I'm like, oh my God. Like, that's just stupid to me. It's just too far. Personal opinion.
It's not necessary. I mean, there's certain types of women that I actually agree with all that on. Certain types of women. But I mean, you don't know how she became a single mom. You don't know why.
Yeah, you don't.
She might have been getting her ass beat, for God's sakes, and had to escape. Like, shut your fucking mouth, dude. You don't know. Like, don't talk about our moms like that.
Yeah, exactly. And you were raised, when did your parents get divorced?
When I was really young.
Yeah. I was like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So. And you were raised predominantly by your mom?
My sisters were. I went with my dad.
Oh, that's right. You because that's where you started because he did barrel horses, right?
He does, yeah.
Yeah, still does.
Always will.
Yeah, always respected in the industry for that.
Yep.
And that's so if you were to pick a favorite rodeo event, what would it be?
Tie down.
Tie down to watch?
Yeah.
To do and to obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. As I'm getting, I've really, really gotten into PBR as I've gotten a little older.
Yeah.
I never cared about bull riding. I never cared about any ride stuff.
I
I never once thought in my mind that I gave 2 shits about doing any of those events.
I actually leave, and nothing against bull riding. It's not my jam. Like I leave before it's over, unless there's a
you're dating. You're dating a barrel racer.
So barrel racing's over.
You have barrel racing ends before the bull riding, so you're already loading up and leaving. You're not even allowed to watch the bull riding.
I'm done doing my video. We got to get out of there. But no, I'm not like I like
the word simp comes to mind when you date a barrel racer. I know it's an ugly word, but when you date a barrel racer, the word simp comes to mind.
Facts. Yeah. Facts. But when you've come from the city, it's a barrel racer simp boyfriend is still greater than a city boy.
It's like a Disney song. Okay. It's a whole new world. You're floating on your magic carpet to the circuit rodeos. I get it, you freaking simp.
But it is an upgrade from a city boy.
Oh, absolutely.
See? Okay.
Yeah, it's a huge upgrade. And it's an upgrade from a city. Well, depends on if you're the Western guy, like you could get a girl from the city and like you can show her your world and like she's into it for a minute until you let the horse run off with her and you laugh and then it's a problem. That's what I did. But, whoops, you learned that lesson. But no, you did the right thing and you picked an entrepreneurial spirit, and not too hung up on trying to rodeo all year long. I mean, you did it the right way.
Yeah. Now she's doing good. She's gonna be hung up on it all year long.
Yeah. I mean, I think Kelly's awesome from what I know about her, but it's like, you can't judge the first 2 weeks in the WPRA standings.
True, but she's
kicking ass? I keep seeing her name.
Yeah, and she's got a good horse right now. as long as she ends up in
Oh,
Houston.
that's a tough spot, dude, because you might have to support a year-long venture. If she has a good horse and she's winning and is cash negative, but not that bad cash negative, you might be in for a long year, partner.
I think it's going to be a long year.
And she will be probably obligated to keep going if she's winning. It's
absolutely.
just the way it goes.
And I'm
have to support that.
I'm a dreamer. So I get like if this year's her year, and I'm a weird person when it comes to like stories, and her grandparents passed away both last year. And
sorry to hear that. I did too. One of mine.
And my grandpa passed away right before that. So we've kind of lost our grandparents very similar time. But her, like when she was 18, she was, rookie of the year and these different things. Never in pro, but like the what's the other one? CPRA. So she had a lot of promise, not to sound like a dick, she had a lot of promise early, and then it's just kind of, she's always been a respected trainer, and she's never had things quite fall her way in terms of pro rodeo.
It has to fall your way to work.
For it to work.
If you don't have a beneficiary, like a lot of people realistically do.
Right.
So.
And if this is her year, I say go for it. Like at all costs. Like if it starts out good, if she gets to do Houston,
good.
If she starts
that's what you should do.
Go for
and
it.
if you didn't support her in that way, then y'all shouldn't be together.
No.
Because if you're gonna date someone who has the potential or the right horse, and I don't know her exact situation, like you gotta.
Yeah.
She supports your shit, dude.
she allows me to keep
here.
doing. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, she does. She's very supportive of what I do. She thinks I do a good job at it, and she doesn't understand. It's funny though, because she's kind of like, "But you're losing money." I'm like, "But you're losing money too. Don't be a hypocrite, ladies." But yeah, I get it, because again, it's like, life costs money. But yeah, if this is her year, I want her to go for it. And I think, and one of the things, and going to her grandparents, her grandma they always wanted to see her compete in the NFR. And I'm like, if this is the year that her grandparents, kind of win that relation, she gives it a go, and she finds a way to somehow qualify for the big money ones that she gets in, fuck it, go for it.
Hey, all I know is there's a lot of people who have beat all odds to do it. So if they can, then if she's got the right horse,
I will fly in instead of drive in all the time. Because what happened was I'd been working out. I was working out 6 days a week. I was in some of the best shape of my life, leading up to when I met her the first time in July or August, because she did a short stint.
Road food. I always wanted somehow to create a business where you deliver healthy meals to people on the road, but I don't know how you do it.
Well, it's also, and for me, I've always had a slow metabolism. So I need to not just eat well. I also have to, so I was hypoglycemic as a kid. So I had all the fake sugars in it. I'm sure it's screwed with.
You're on insulin now?
No. I'm not. And I can still eat sugar, but my body doesn't. I have to be. In a matter of 2 months, I retroactively went to where I was in January, from 2 months of just being a little bit of an inactive. And it's like the rodeo life, because they're busting their ass all day. I'm trying to do this shit. I don't, it's hard to gym and all that stuff.
Do you know what the secret to eating healthy on the road is, even if you're only going to gas stations?
Not eating.
Not eating as long as you can, and beef jerky. Those two things.
But and I agree, because it's good proteins, but at the same time, most of them have the MSG and the bullshit in it too. So,
but it's better than the potato chips and the Snickers bar you're going to go for, because I don't want the MSG.
Yeah, valid, totally true. So, and I know that we're pushing length, so we'll
fine. I flew in. I'm staying in an Airbnb tonight downtown.
Your first ever.
I don't have a house over here anymore. Yeah, so whatever.
So you tie down roping. So as somebody, and now I'm going to be a simp again. The first few events I went to. I'm like, tie down roping was hard for me to watch as an animal person. Like, and I'm no PETA, trust me. And I've grown to actually truly appreciate tie down roping. And also I know the art has a need to it, because if I'm an animal lover, I don't want them to be shoved in a pen. Like, these are more free range animals. So based on the world we live in, look at California trying to push legislation to ban certain things in rodeos. Is there a way?
They're trying to ban rodeo
in general, all of it. Yeah. And I think a lot of it is because, they're basing it probably on the
county or whatever.
Which I think it failed. I heard it failed.
Yeah, that Western Justice lobbyist got in there with some donors and stuff and seemed to have stopped that. But it got passed through in LA County, so.
Yeah. Is there a way, do you think, to modernize rodeo to make sure that shit doesn't happen?
Depends. What do you want rodeo to be? Do you want it to be the historically accurate and purest sport that it's been? If so, no, you can't change shit.
Yeah.
what can you do? I mean, you put tie down where it's not on TV, and you do what they do with the steer roping. You know what the steer roping is? Steer tripping.
No.
So there's another rodeo event that's not televised called steer roping. We call it steer roping to be more politically correct, but it's actually steer tripping.
Okay.
So what you do is you rope the steer's head. The rope goes around its back legs. You flip it over.
With the rope, not with the human.
With the rope. Oh, yeah. So you rope it. The rope is around its front and back legs. You dally. You go the other way. You know what a dally is.
Yeah, yeah.
And the steer flips over. You jump off. You can't flank a steer like you can a calf, too heavy, and you tie its legs. That's not on TV because it's more brutal.
Yeah.
So what? You do that with tie down, which has some of your most famous, most popular athletes in it.
Right.
Then what? Then what's next? No more flank straps on livestock and bulls, even though it doesn't hurt them. Then what's next? You can't team rope because you're stretching the steer's back legs out. Where do you draw the line?
Right. And I've been in enough rodeos. I haven't seen a single animal injury.
No, you haven't. Yeah, because they're very well taken care of. They're well medicated and they're well fed. Because what good is tie down roping if the calf can't run its fastest and be the most healthy animal possible? So their quality of life is way better than you fucking SJW motherfucker who eats a Big Mac every day than that thing that sat in its own shit and was stuffed with antibiotics to keep it alive long enough to get fat and die.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the thing. Rodeo is never going to be for everybody. It's never going to be the NFL as much as we want it to be. So what? So what can it be? It can be historically accurate and it can be a purist sport.
Yeah.
It can be the Golf Channel.
And I've learned, and again, like you said, there's a purpose. These animals. What would you tell a person that goes, it's cruel? What would you say? Because you kind of already said a little bit of it. You kind of alluded to it. It's cruel. Some of these events are cruel to animals. Why are they not?
Why are they not cruel?
Yeah.
Maybe they are.
Okay.
But life is fucking cruel. That quality, that calf's quality of life is going to be better for that amount of time than it would in any other possible. This isn't Charlotte's fucking Web. That's not life. That wasn't life for humans just a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, humans have been enslaved. They've been chattel. The peasant class has always been downtrodden. Like there's always been a few ruling over many.
Yeah.
Life hasn't been pretty for us, but you people are so soft because you're in soft times. You don't even recognize that.
Yeah.
Like life's never going to be amazing for a cow. But if it's just not,
It's
dude.
but like
we
you
eat
said,
them.
It's a hell of a lot better than. So I've learned more about
ideologues, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut.
No, you're good.
Ideologues are the number one threat to our free society right now. It's great. It's like you think that utopia exists. Amazing. I'm so happy you believe that, but that's not reality.
Yeah.
Like being idealistic about every little thing because you think your voice matters because you have a fucking Instagram doesn't mean the world is going to operate the way you think it should, or the way I do for that matter.
Yeah.
Like I think you should shut the fuck up. You're probably not going to shut the fuck up, right? Like you think, oh, we can't hurt the animals. The cow farts are bad for the environment. Drive your electric car. Okay. You don't know anything.
Yeah.
You actually don't.
Yeah.
Because you don't research, you don't do independent research on anything. We have more knowledge, we have more power at our fingertips than anyone ever in the history of any time period had ever had. If you showed this to frickin' Marcus Aurelius or Socrates or name a person, William Shakespeare, Nikolai Tesla, their head's gonna fucking explode.
Nikolai Tesla would have been like, yeah, that was my idea.
Oh, absolutely. And someone else got credit for it. No, I'm not okay with that. I kill myself with pigeons in my apartment. Like, that's a sad story, but...
No, very much so. But no, the thing that's made me turn the corner on some of the stuff like tie-down roping and whatever it is... Because, again, first of all, I was like, oh, I slam it. But fact is, that art is what allows free range to actually happen.
Oh, absolutely.
The ability to catch them. If they don't have that art, and yes, for 10 seconds, that
catch
shit
them
probably
and
sucks.
doctor them to give them medication so they don't die and get eaten by a freaking bear.
Or they could be where they don't get to move and they sit in their own shit and they get doctored because they're not able to move their whole life.
Yeah.
I will 100% choose, and that's why I've started to enjoy watching the tie-down roping.
It took a bit. It's easy to target rodeo because it's an isolated event with a few cows and you get to watch that little video clip. But again, it's like you're an ideologue. But you're only idealistic about the things that are right in front of you at that time that someone tells you to look at. You're not going to look at the thing that you're consuming because, well, you don't want to look at yourself because, oh, I'm ugly because, I'm a hypocrite.
Right. That's like the issue with BLM too. Like, I mean, yeah, we all know the organization is garbage. Anybody with a brain, but like the whole movement was.
Yeah, but half of our country doesn't have their own brain.
True.
That's where we're at.
Right. And but it's ideologues. They thought that this is what the good thing for black people. It's not. There was black businesses destroyed. What they put money, none of it went to black people. So it's the ideologue mentality of we want to help everybody without realizing that that's not helping anything.
When their financial documents came out and you realize that it was like fucking strippers and prostitutes and limos, were like, is anybody surprised?
$200,000 of it.
Dude, they better been some good prostitutes. That's all I'm saying.
I think they're escorts too. Transgender escorts I saw in there, I think.
Oh, that's hot.
Are
you vibrating?
No.
Your thing.
You're a dick.
I know.
You're such
People
a
tell
dick.
me that. Why does everybody tell me that? Apparently I have some character flaws.
In the in the world of rodeo, there's a lot of billionaires coming in right now. I know you talked about it on the show.
A lot?
One billionaire.
Legendary Pictures.
What's the name?
Not the best movies.
No, what's the name of the Teton Ridge. At first, I know, and obviously as a conservative, Kelly's a conservative, the thought process was a little concerning of them getting involved in the sport. But within 6 months to a year, I think we're seeing that take away modernization, it's putting it on a platform where there's probably more money for
what platform.
Well, whether it's Cowboy Channel or whether it's just being constantly aired everywhere, and whether they might make movies out of whatever it might be.
Cowboy Channel doesn't have any tie to Teton Ridge.
True, but it seems like there's the fact that there's more money coming into it from things like the American, that Cowboy Channel is putting more money into it as well.
I'm not an anti-Thomas Tull person, by the way. I've talked to them. They were supposed to come on the show, and then they couldn't make it happen. I think he got scared to talk about.
I would really like to see you with him, because I wanted to interview him as well, because I know his background is super left.
Yeah, but you have to look at it from the billionaire standpoint. Like, that's a financial decision, not necessarily his political beliefs, because I've also seen him speak against China.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't he have business in China?
I don't know what he has in China or doesn't. I know he's had some stock in the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know he was in film. I know that he sold Legendary Pictures to a Chinese investor. But I also saw a video on YouTube of him saying that China's the greatest threat to the United States. So
interesting.
You don't really know what a billionaire, what their moves are, because they're playing on a three-dimensional chessboard that we don't have access to.
Yeah.
So politics is a construct. Right, left, center, truly, it's a construct, and we're tied up in it because, well, we like the blue team, we like the red team. It's like they're using it for a different reason.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know what his motivations might actually be or what he actually cares about.
So what you've seen to this point, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
There's two sides. I think having more money injected into the industry is a good thing. Mm-hmm. I think the fact that Rodeo was willing to sell themselves so quickly for a quick buck is a bad thing.
Yeah.
So it's...
Let's hope it was sold in the right hands.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, whose hands are the right hands? Who gets to decide that? I mean, we don't. We don't know. I think there's a lot of reform that needs to happen in the organizations, and I really, really would love to see new leadership in some of these organizations. The PBR is kind of a gold standard for me from a business operation standpoint. I look at them and the things they do and how they've evolved and continued to change to increase their fans' engagement, increase their stock price, and bring more money into it. And I don't see Rodeo really doing that.
Gotcha. What kind of reform are you talking about? Leadership? Is that what you said? Or more?
Yeah, I would like to see fresh, new, more representation for the athletes. And that's not just because that's what my family's always done, but it's just like there's no infrastructure there for the athletes. They don't really care. They're operating under this 501c3 banner that so many, I have so many issues with 501c3s and the loopholes that are attached to those things.
Yeah.
But I certainly don't have any interest in trying to do it myself or anything like that. I've had people go, why don't you run for president of the PRCA? First of all, no. Second of all, absolutely not. But
that's two versions of no, if anybody's paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. But I would just like to see reform. I mean, it's one of the oldest sports in the entire U.S. history.
Yeah.
Rodeo is, and Fallon Taylor is what I would consider to be a friend. And I mean, she showed me.
She the one that had her kid with her, and her husband's used to do supplements, right?
Yeah.
That was a really good show.
Fallon Taylor's awesome.
Yeah.
Very misunderstood, but very amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant businesswoman. Richest barrel racer out there from from self-promotion. She's
Yeah.
a killer. But she's got checks from when she was running barrels before they implemented the NFR age limit from like a rodeo, I think it was San Antonio, I don't know. That's like $200 less than what it is right now.
Jeez, hasn't changed.
Nothing's changed. And I just don't like the way rodeos run. I don't like it, and I understand there's a lot of hands, and I probably speaking gibberish to like whatever people are left listening to this, but it's just not good business the way it's ran.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
So with the money coming in, like you look at Pink Buckle and how much money, like, and I had a long conversation with Kelly as I'm still consistently learning about the industry, the incentives. I'm like, why incentives? I see the positive of.
Now we're in a different thing, though.
Yeah,
it's not rodeo. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah. I know, but in terms of not necessarily rodeo, but the Western industry,
we can call that the barrel horse industry.
Barrel horse industry.
Even though I know some of them are starting to pick up roping, but really that's the barrel horse
industry. Right. Barrel.
Specific.
So, but it's just money coming in, is what I'm saying. And do you think it's a positive?
It depends.
Because
there's two positives
classes.
And a negative. Yeah, but there's always been classes in pretty much everything. The thing that I like about the incentives is what it's done is increase the value of the industry. But now for your working Joe, your average person who would like to ride a rodeo, they're fixated on the wrong thing. Now they're super fixated on stallions and mares and their horse being an incentive horse. Jan, you're a nurse. You're going to jackpots. You don't need an incentive horse. There's a lot of great horses out there.
Jan?
Yeah, Jan. I'm just thinking of like the silly
sounds like a good
Jan.
name.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
But like you don't need that. You don't need a proven mare and a pink buckle sire so you can go jackpot on the weekends.
Yeah.
So when you look at horses that sell for $860,000, $890,000, granted that was a stallion, that's a business move. I get it, but the barrier of entry is getting really high, which is going to crush a lot of little dreams. And so I don't like that. But I also like the idea of people that I care about being able to make good money finally.
Yeah.
So it's a catch-22. At the same time, they can't afford to buy these horses for themselves unless they have a benefactor. There's some good examples. I won't say names, but where people like barely made it in the NFR or whatever, but they did it on a benefactor horse and they went to like 100 rodeos. And it's like, that's great and it's admirable and I get that, but fuck.
Yeah.
If someone has to do it on their own, it's going to be really hard for Kelly to do it.
Right. 100%.
You know what I mean? Because you can't compete with somebody who has a billionaire buying them horses, paying for all their fuel, their truck, their trailer, their expenses, everything, so they can go everywhere. Oh, by the way, they have a driver and they can fly, they can sleep.
Yeah.
It's really hard for a Kelly or an Ivy who's already done it against all odds to play in that field.
And it gets harder every year because of stuff like that. And you got you're not going to get the great. It's going to be much harder to get the great stories like what's Briggs's mom was
Christy Peterson.
And what was the horse? Bozo. Bozo. Those stories are going to be few and far between if it's all incentive horses at this point. And again, I know that's rodeo, and I know that's it's separate.
But that's where the horses are coming from.
Yeah,
so it does tie in. They are coming from that, and they will all be from that at some point when this current era dies off or retires. Like, yeah, they'll all be that.
Yeah.
And it's great for the people who can play in that arena. It's cool. But now we're getting into this whole thing where it's jockeys riding benefactors' horses. And so it's going to change. It's going to be more like the racehorse industry or other industries, which the purist in me hates that. I love the story of we raised this horse, we got it there, we did it on breadcrumbs, and some people might still have that story, but when barrier of entry is 6+ figures for embryos and things like that, which is where it's headed and already is in some ways, like it removes the working man from the game, and that's hard to stomach.
Yeah. So it's gonna stay with the same family. It's like politics now. It's like the Bush family.
It's everything.
It's all gonna be the same. Do you know Chad Prather at all?
I don't know him personally.
He'd be great on your show. I mean, he's got a.
I mean, he'd fit in with the type of guests we have all the time.
And he's got a top bull, right? He's, what is it? Political Cowboy is his, and I think that was ranked fourth.
Yeah, he would be a great guest. I don't know. I've never reached out to him. He would be
he's
good.
awesome. Yeah.
He fits in with the crowd we have.
He lives in Houston mostly now, or Woodlands. He loves talking shit about Woodlands, but he'd be great.
People who live in the Woodlands are obsessed with the Woodlands.
except for him. Like
Really?
he just moved out there.
I actually think it's cool down there.
It's cool, but he's like there's like Beto posters all over. It's like it's that like just white collar where they're like I gotta be a Democrat type group, and like people hate him.
Yeah, it was like #1 place to live in 2020 or something.
Yeah,
so it shouldn't be shocked that the liberals flocked to it.
Like flies on shit,
literally. Yeah, he would be great though. I would love to have him on.
I'll make sure he's not in town as much.
We fly people in and out, put them up in the Hilton downtown. I mean, we make sure it's
sweet.
all.
He drives back
easy.
and forth all the time.
Yeah.
One thing before we're done, because we both dabble in the crypto industry, which to Kelly it makes it. She thinks it's gibberish. She thinks I'm talking nonsense. And I know you've done some of your businesses. I don't even know, what is your business now? What is your moneymaker right now?
No, nothing really.
Transitioning.
Moving to a new industry right now. I mean, I've always been a service-based, commodity-based person, and I don't have crypto. I never did.
I thought you talk about crypto on some.
I talked about that you shouldn't fuck with crypto if you don't know anything about regular investment. That was
there we go.
Far as
Okay.
Why are you worried about crypto if you're working enterprise rent-a-car?
Right. Let's get into Dogecoin real quick and see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you a crypto fan or not?
No, I don't like the idea of non-centralized money because I mean, what's going to happen with it? Who's controlling it?
In the end, it's going to be centralized.
Yeah, exactly. So great, you have all your money in crypto. If you can get it out quick enough to put it into something more sustainable, like a real estate or a precious metal, cool. But at some point, when they do take that, like they take everything, what's it going to be worth? One, and two. Well, crypto's less like I think somebody had asked me about NFTs on some show. I've been on enough podcasts now where I get asked stupid. You probably know the same thing. It's like I don't want to hear anybody mention NFT to me. We're in the Western industry. We don't know what that is.
Yeah, and NFTs don't make. I said, but here's the thing.
Logan Paul tells you to buy his NFT and you buy it. You're a fucking cuck.
I just don't get this magical play world, which again, I will, if I'm wrong 10 years from now, I'll take it. I thought there was something to crypto 10 years ago. I didn't understand it. So I didn't get involved.
If I could have bought whatever coin, I mean, I guess it would have just been Bitcoin back in 17, even
when it dropped,
people said, hey, do you have $100,000? You know, just put it in this. Shoulda.
Yeah. Just think if you put 100, well, nobody would have put $100,000 back in 2012.
No.
But
even in 2017, if you did it, you'd be a freaking overnight tens of millions.
Yeah. Unless did you hear about that person that their father passed away like suddenly? Didn't have the passcode in his will. Nobody can get the like 88 Bitcoin out of it, or I think it was even more than that, like insane amount. It's just sitting there. That's the flaw with it. I can't get in
anything that there's the barrier of entry's over with. There's no point in looking at it.
Yeah.
Why focus on Bitcoin in 2022 if you have none? You're not getting any, so why are you worried about it?
See, I doubt. So,
not you. I mean, in general.
No. And I have the barrier of entry is interesting. So I've done a couple like alternative, like farming type stuff.
I have somebody who did one of the Dogecoin. He put $5,000 in, and he lost it all.
Oh yeah,
last year.
So they have a lot of stuff that's like yield farming, and like Hex Coin has some other like offshoots. It's like these new coins that you invest and you stake it. I like the stake coins. I like the idea of staking.
It's the new penny stocks, is what this stuff is.
That's what Doge type coin is, and it's like who talks positive about it. But some of the stake coins are interesting, and I like decentralized currency for this reason. Mm-hmm. Because it's going to be centralized at one point, so therefore it will create value. Because once it's high enough, I don't love the altcoins. I think the altcoins are dangerous. But some of these ones where you take the risk, and sometimes you lose all the money. Say you put in $4,000 and it gets a 2% yield per day. Some of them make some money. I've been in one that's actually done pretty good. I've been in two that did not do good, where I lost $1,500 or I lost $4,000, or $3,500. Lost those, but the other one's done pretty well. And I know people that have made $250,000, $500,000 off of these systems where you're putting it in, and also knowing that you can lose all of it in any given day.
Cool. If you're that lucky guy who has that $500,000, you take that and you invest it into a service-based business.
Well, that's the thing. Most of these people already have that. So they have, there's no way
to your average person that we're talking to, right?
There should never, your whole portfolio should never be in any single thing, period. But if it's ever considered to be in crypto, that's the dumbest idea on the planet. Any kind of crypto-based business.
Here's the thing.
Gambling.
Most of your Americans don't have a fucking portfolio. Like the people that we need to be talking to that need help from shows like this, they don't have that. Maybe they have a 401k that they're getting a 2 to 4% match on from their job, but they can't touch that till they're 59 and a half anyways. And if they do, they're going to get penalized and taxed out the ass. Yeah. And there's no guarantee that they're going to have a livable wage after that, or it'll even be around because the government controls it.
So what do you invest? What do you invest?
Real estate.
You're in all real estate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not investing in shit right now.
Right.
Horses.
Yeah.
But time, energy, podcasts. But yeah, before that, I mean, my retirement plan has always been buy a bunch of commercial real estate. You know, the businesses that operate in, that will be operating in, things I'm working on now, like the retirement plan will be not residential, but commercial real estate.
Smart.
Yeah, you go commercial real estate, you know, every 5 years you can loan against that commercial real estate, buy more commercial real estate, and you're not going to pay $1 in taxes because of loopholes. They might not exist by the time I'm implementing all these plans, but
there'll be some kind of loophole. The rich will never be screwed.
There's always a loophole, and you don't have to be that rich to buy commercial real estate. I mean, you got to have at least $200,000 for the original down payment, but you can refinance that finance money. You can use borrowed money to create your entire retirement for the rest of your fucking life if you can find good commercial real estate.
So if you were to tell somebody right now listening that's got $15,000, that's all they've got to spare, what would they do to invest it? What do you think?
$15,000's not much.
I know. That's still more than the average American has loose.
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't talk about this because of the amount of money that I've blown through in the last 3 months because of things that are going on that I can't talk about. But yeah, I mean, if you had $15,000, I wouldn't touch it. If you had an idea, I would try to find. To be honest, if I only had $15,000 and I had to start a business and I didn't have some way to slither out of it and had help, if you have no help and you have $15,000, I would think real hard on what you could. How could you stretch that? Yeah. Do you have a house yet? If you don't, use that and buy a house first. Maybe not now because of fucking interest rates. Yeah, but it's hard. What do you tell somebody to do who only has $15,000 for a business?
That's why
you don't hold on to your $15,000 because you know what's going to happen. Pull it out, put it into something. Or do you have good credit? I would be leveraging my credit
more than anything else.
And
just take and refinance whatever loan you get. Not on a house. I mean, maybe on a house, maybe on an investment property.
Yeah, if you only have $15,000, I don't know. I think you should be holding onto that $15,000 and trying to turn it into 30.
Yeah. I like the idea of maybe, and some people would say take the 15, spend all 15 on education and networking. I don't know about that. I would take $5,000. Maybe
your average American's not going to know who the fuck to network with, and they're not going to know why.
Yeah.
What are you networking for? Like you can have all the contacts in the world if you don't know what your plan, your vision, and your goal is. Like if you have contacts, then someone's going to give you money for your good idea.
Right.
I've never had money in my life. I've only had contacts.
Right.
And I've been able to do things. So if you only have $15,000, that's 3 months of expenses
at best.
Average at best. Don't fuck with that. If you only have $15,000. Try to get more. That's a mistake I've made. Like I've used all the money I've ever had for ideas, and you get burned if you don't have a nest egg.
So I would spend a little bit on like a networking personally. I would spend $2,500, $5,000, maybe a year plan where you're in like
you're an idea guy though. So you have an idea. You have somewhere to go with that network.
Right.
Networking for the sake of networking is stupid.
And I don't mean. So I would invest it in when I say networking, also like a mastermind. So you're learning from other people.
Kaizen events, different things, but there's a lot of free shit out there.
A lot of
free education.
Read a whole shitload to make sure you hone in on what you want to do. Take that $10,000, and then if you have to, find side hustles. Like, and I'm sorry, a 40-hour work week, if you have a dream, is not enough. You have to find.
Oh, fuck. Well, here's a great thing. If you have a job, but you have a skill, like, utilize that skill for something else. Like, here's the thing. Like, if I can't make enough money from a job, one thing I can do is I can ride horses for extra money.
There you go.
So like I can make an extra $4,000 a month. I have to work my dick off.
Yeah.
But you can do it, and I would for a second. One thing that you can always do is you can read, you can learn, you can make yourself better. Now, you can get stuck in this self-help loop, and I've done it, where you become just addicted to consuming content with no action.
Mm-hmm.
And, but you have to actually act on it. Read one good book and actually implement it and act on it. That's worth way more than your $15,000.
Well, it's like when people do when they go to really badass conferences. It's called the conference hangover.
Mm-hmm.
They're just jacked up when they leave. They're like, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to change the world. And they get home, and that's why people write letters afterwards like, I hated attending Tony Robbins. I didn't get what I wanted out. Like, you loved it on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
But when you had to implement it, people don't know how to implement. They don't know how to finish through.
To be honest, if you don't know what to do, where to go, but you need money, then you need to walk into some type of sales organization and convince them of your merit, even if you don't have any experience on why you should do that. Go sell cars. Like, you'll make a fuck ton of money if you're good at it.
Yeah, especially now. It's like, it's easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be come Q2 of 2023. Shit's going to fall out. But even then,
people still buy them. They're just not going to be over sticker anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, if you believe in yourself, if you're quick-witted, if you're sharp, then go sell something for a while.
Yeah,
go sell something. Bet on yourself. Go sell. Like, 'cause it's not fun. But
what do you think about network marketing? You be honest. I personally always used to hate it. I get the purpose of it. It's something I'm not good at, nor is it my skill set.
If it comes across to you in a YouTube ad, it's probably not going to work for you in real life. That's my problem. I think the real value that's coming in the short period of our lifetime is going to be, there's going to be a huge flip to service industries, meaning like HVACs or driveway pavers, roofing,
100%.
like those type of
trades.
things. Trades are gonna become so fucking valuable. If I had to, and I didn't have the paths that I am lucky enough to have, it would be one of my goals to get one of those types of industries going. If I had 15 grand and I had good credit, I would try to borrow 200 grand from somewhere to start a company that provided a service that you knew could pay you, because you can turn one of those things, like a construction type company, or you provide anything, you can turn it into a 7-figure business pretty easy right now. There's such a demand. There's not enough people doing it.
And then you just have to follow through with customer service. That's what people forget, especially in the world of Yelp.
Yeah, well, I mean, Yelp is one thing. Google, like, take your Google My Business so fucking serious. Spend the money on someone to handle your marketing. Yeah. None of those service-based companies do that. If you can get somebody, pay the $1,500 a month for a marketing company to manage your account, promote you on social, promote your Google My Business, get you up in the listings, get your reviews up. You do that, you will be a millionaire before you ever will on any pipe dream that you saw on YouTube. Yeah. Get something real, applicable. Utilize your credit while you can. Don't worry about your 15 grand. That goes nowhere. Yeah. Keep that. So
this is where I've gotten with, and I'm going to go back to, you're 100% correct. Now I'm going to even take the people that have shitty credit and they maybe have 300 to spend. And this is the reason I've become a fan of network marketing. And I have the affiliate. I've not pursued it the way that
to be honest, I don't know much about it.
So it's like, the other word is multi-level marketing, which is the dirty word. The reason I always said that I never
There's one word dirtier.
What's that?
You know it. Pyramid scheme.
Oh, well, and that's what people claim MLMs are, which is it's bullshit. And the reason why I've actually become a fan of them for certain people that are hustlers is because of the haters. So I posted one video talking about Monat, and then I because it's an affiliate, and I really do like the product. They're a $2.3+ billion company in 7 years. Like, they've done pretty decent. 8 years. There's hater groups out there, and my biggest like vitriol in my system is victim mentality. I think that's the biggest issue on every level,
100%.
Political. So the people that hate the MLMs, there's something called like MLM exit, and there's these pages that are there dedicated to destroying companies like Monat and like Young Living Essential Oils or whatever it is. All these multi-levels, they'll call pyramids or whatever they want to call them. And watching who they are and what they talk about, first off, they're all clearly far left. Like, you can see their other posts. Mm-hmm. And their whole thing is slamming these people, and it's very clear. Just the same as one of my guests, like we talked about earlier, the one that had the haters. Yeah. There is going to be failures in anything that you do. You got to find a way to learn lessons in it. But the people that just, they feel like they got screwed because they didn't make a fortune. And that victim mentality that they are willing to go out of their way to try to destroy not just the company, but the individuals that are trying to sell the items because maybe they said one word that didn't go with the FCC, FDA, whatever it is, made me almost more of a fan to say, fuck you. There's some people that do really well. Is it 20% of them? No. Is it 5% that transcend above the rest and literally put their balls on the table and hustle like a mother effer? Absolutely. I love that we've said the fuck word a million times. I decided to say mother effer.
Yeah. If you look at like all the reviews I have on Apple, the bad ones are the host cuss too often.
And I will cuss, but not usually this much. But it's much more natural.
I have a terrible mouth. It's one of the things I'd love to fix about myself for like even religious reasons. I just can't.
Fuck it. And shit, we got to talk religion, right? Last thing, I was gonna end it right there, but ultimately, like, I just think that I think that the more people that hate something because they are playing that victim card, the more I want to support that lifestyle.
It's a lack of discipline, laziness, and an entitlement. It's like you said something key, and I hone in on like words really deep on pretty much every level. Anybody who's ever worked for me in a business has been annoyed at how much I correct their verbiage, because verbiage is everything. The way you speak, how you speak, the way you present yourself, and the words you choose to use are going to dictate the way that your life goes.
Yeah.
I believe that. Some people don't, but
I do too.
I really do.
Grammar's big.
It's huge, and the way you present your information and the charisma you project will tell you how far you're going to get.
Yeah,
because it's everything. But you said a key thing.
Unless you're Yeezy, because he has no grammar, and somehow he's a billionaire.
He did though in the beginning.
Yeah, but anyways, sorry.
But yeah, exactly. But you said people are mad that they didn't make a fortune.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they never got in it to make a fortune. Make means you have to do something. They got in it to get a fortune.
Interesting.
A fortune.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most people want to get something. They don't want to make something or earn something, which is why most people fucking hate themselves.
Yeah.
Because human beings are meant to strive for goals. They're meant to suffer. We are meant to trudge through mud, especially men. We're meant to. We just are. We are meant to have to bear significant loads. You use that thing to do it, that little shiny object. Mm-hmm. Some people like to
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you don't. You keep tucking it back there, but it keeps on doing that little floating thing when you put something that vibrates on a table. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Everybody knows that motion. But like as men, we are meant to suffer a little bit.
Yeah.
We always have. We stormed beaches in Normandy. We conquered new lands. We sailed on ships without headings. We built the roads. We built the buildings. We built the bridges. We created the financial systems. Like, and I don't necessarily just mean men. I know it's like some women were in there. Some women did that. It's like, well,
small percentage.
Small percentage. It just is what it is. We didn't birth any children.
Yeah.
We didn't take care of any households. We were out there fighting in wars and building skyscrapers and creating financial systems and going to the moon.
That's called a callback in the industry.
It's called a callback, and it's an expert chess move is what that is. But most men are missing that today, and I think that is so important and so key. Is men are called to duty. Duty, it doesn't matter. You may not be meant to be a billionaire, and you might not be a millionaire. I'm certainly not going to probably be a billionaire, nor do I want to. Maybe I did a few years ago, but I don't see the purpose in it. Yeah. But you're meant to do something, and you get to decide that, and you need to suffer for that thing. You need to have discipline, whatever that is, right? You have to. If you don't have that, you're not going to make it at all, and you're just going to be mad at these companies who did make it.
Right.
It's pathetic.
Yeah. Pathetic's actually a really good word. That's the best way to describe some of these side pages. It's like that's your life.
You're pathetic.
Like I'll go on some of the political pages. Like there's people I don't like call me Chivy, which drives me nuts. He's an educator, and I don't like some of their meanings, or like the always film the police guy drives me nuts because it's just creating so much hate towards
everybody wants attention.
I will comment on a couple on why I believe that they're wrong, but I will not make a whole page dedicated to slamming people like that. That's just not.
Because you have shit to do.
Exactly.
You have a life.
Right. Because if you don't have that life and you do it, that's called?
You're sleeping next to a woman at night. That's the other thing.
Truth. It's called pathetic, though.
It's pathetic. It's fucking pathetic.
And struggle. It's going through struggle is a big thing. And that's kind of and that's a lot of the stuff I talk about with Kelly is when she, I mean, if as a barrel racer that is funding their own, it's a struggle. It's rough. And even, having a spot, and nothing is a truly successful business yet. It's a struggle, but knowing that if you're only happy when things go right, that's a tough way to live life. You got to enjoy the struggle as a man or as even a woman, more so as a man, I think.
You do. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're called to it. We always have been. And if you want to get biblical, I mean, that is half the book.
Yeah.
Embrace your struggle. You know, love thy neighbor. Those sort of things really matter, and we've lost so much of that. And it is just these key fundamentals of true humanity that are missing, that no one would expect ranchy cow people to know these things are talking on, but we all do it because that's one place that's still getting done. And I think that's why like the whole Western lifestyle is really important, because it's still getting done there. Nowhere else that I can think of really. But
yeah, that was a pro segue that you just did into. I see what you did there. I've heard you talk about religion. You're very Christian.
Yeah, I mean
but not religious.
You know what? More and more religious as I get older.
Interesting.
I played that whole anti-religion, even on my podcast. Like, you can go back to old episodes that have hundreds of thousands of listens on them, and I've been like anti-religion. Like, I don't think religion's good, but I'm spiritual. It's like, that's such a cop out. You're one or the other. Like, and I've done it. We've all done it.
See, I don't love everything in the Bible, and the reason I like the messaging, I like. And I'm Christian as well. I'm what they consider a lukewarm Christian. Apparently, that makes me a shitty person in certain churches.
Yeah.
But I believe, and that's kind of the liberal side of me, is to let people be who they want to be type situation. And I think the Bible, as we're seeing in this day and age, everything is written with politics. I think the Bible is no different. So I can't believe that every word of it is perfect. I think the message, the overriding message, is
that whole, like, this is a divine book. There, it's written in 65 languages and 12 different books and 10 different authors or whatever. The whole saying is that your biblical random pundits will use to try to excuse their shitty behavior and their dogma. That's one thing. But it's historically documented. We know that the Romans changed pieces of the Bible. We know that. It's historical. It doesn't match with like the Dead Sea Scrolls and some of the stuff that's from the original biblical texts that were together. Even if you look at when Martin Luther split from the Catholic Church, that motherfucker didn't like some words, and because he was an egomaniac, he changed it. So the Protestant Bible doesn't even match the Catholic Bible. Where's all those Catholic books that existed in the Bible before? You know what I mean? And then you have the whole thing, well, the Orthodox Church was before the Catholic Church. Well, really, they were the same fucking church. You know? So, yeah, religion's fucking messy.
Yeah.
Like, if you're smart enough to look into your history, and I'm sure people are like, what the fuck? I thought this was, you talked about cowboy shit. It's like, yeah, but you got to be smart.
Yeah.
And
which is why you have a good show.
Yeah. It's like, you got to be, but you have to look at these things. It's like, if you look at the founding of the Christian church and who founded it, and if you go the full Jesus thing, that's great. Yeah, but, you know, it wasn't, everybody thinks their thing is the right thing. The Catholics full-heartedly believe that. The Lutherans full-heartedly believe that theirs is the best
Muslims
thing.
full-hearted.
Fucking Muslims. The Jews, who don't even believe in Jesus necessarily. They read the Torah. These guys read the Quran. These guys read the Catholic Bible. They believe Mother Mary is this important figure, and every single saint and bishop and priest is all divine, and there's beautiful things about Catholicism, like the artistry and the sacred texts.
Do you believe if somebody doesn't believe in Christ, they're not going to heaven?
Yeah.
So
depends, because there's different versions of Christ to different people, I think. But
what about Jews, chosen people, quote unquote? They don't believe in Christ.
Here's the thing. It's hard to wrap your head around it, but I think at some point you have to just draw a line and believe something. And it's because if you don't, you're kind of just like floating around in nowhere. Like, what do you end up believing on your last day? Like, what do you choose on your last breath? If you're lucky enough to pick your last breath, what do you choose? Where's your choice?
My choice is Christianity because that's what I believe in. But then I look at, like, the same way as we think children are innocent, and I think that I've learned, and I could be wrong, that like there's a certain age child that if they die, they go to heaven no matter what because they're not of age to understand any of that stuff. So what about somebody that's 37 years old that lives in
Amazon rainforest?
Amazon rainforest. Who am I to say they're not going to heaven?
It's such a good question. Like that, but at the same time, it's like I don't believe that the Bible is this divine, all-powerful text. I don't. They're sold. It's the number one selling book for like, what, 100 plus fucking years?
Yeah.
Billions of dollars.
Yeah.
They're sold, printed. They're printed. They're put in bookstores, and they're sold. And when things are sold for profit, they're not divine. Mm-hmm. There's some great things in the Bible.
Agreed.
Like it's a wonderful book, but it's been translated a lot. If you're getting a New King James Bible, that's not the original Bible. Like the people who came up with that
It's literally
that's a
named after a
Protestant-
king.
Yeah,
Like,
that's like it's named
politics.
after a king. They changed it, but I mean, they're like our religion, which is Christianity, has been cut up and chopped up to where like it's now like this non-denominational Christian thing. That's the one. This is the one. The Catholics are wrong. The Orthodoxes are wrong. The Muslims are wrong. The Lutherans, the Protestant. Well, those are all Protestant things, but they're all wrong. We're the right ones. Really.
It's hard.
Really, you are.
Which is why I get that. And again, some of the ultra conservatives that I've done shows with, and some of those I don't do shows with anymore, they make it a point, and they know the Bible from page 1 to page end, and they'll use that as their weapon. And I think it's a flawed weapon, and it might sound bad, but
the old flaming sword of truth,
right? The overriding theme is to be good to people, to be good to each other, to be kind, to be decent,
put
and
others'
to not
needs
judge.
ahead of your own. Tell the truth.
And to not judge, and I think, and
judge,
and I know we went hard on the trans community earlier, and there's and some of the hosts that I've had are like they won't even eat at the same table as somebody that's transgender. I'm like, that is literally as
You're
far
the same as them if that's you.
Boom. And that's the key behind it all. I'm like, at the end of the day, the one overriding theme of every version of the Bible, and even Muslim, even the Quran.
Hey, there's things that I can respect about Islam.
And absolutely.
It's the only fucking religion that holds any weight anymore.
They're the only ones that stick to
They're the only ones that stick to it. Like, you offend them, you're fucking done.
Yeah.
Dude, you can offend every Christian on planet Earth and Catholic on every freaking street corner that there's a fucking Catholic synagogue or a synagogue or whatever. Fucking, whatever. Fucking
Jewish
palace, what do they
synagogue,
call it?
Catholic, parish,
whatever. Fuck. Yeah, church, mega church, whatever.
Mega
churches. Why does that priest get to that preacher get to choose his own salary?
Right.
Anyway.
Mega churches are, oh man.
Yeah. But if you insult a mosque or Muslims, like,
oh, you're done.
You're fucking done. And I respect like that. Dude, you're not going to offend their religion. You can say whatever you want about Christians. Always have been able to.
Or we've become weaker.
Yeah.
But no, in the mega churches, that's another reason. We've created fallacies, just like those that are judging, those ones that are ultra Christian that are doing the one thing the Bible says that is only for Christ, which is the judgment side. They're judging others, and they're like, well, that's how you bring people to God. It's not. You're never going to pray anybody's gay away. Like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like, it's just stupid.
First of all, like, dudes have been fucking other dudes since before time memoriam. Like, I don't think, like, sorry, but there were senators in Athens, freaking little boys, all the time.
Yeah.
We're talking 3,000 years ago. It's like, you're not going to pray the gay away. I don't know where gay comes from.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know how that originates. Who thought that was a good idea, especially back then. But, I mean, I don't know why that's a thing, but I certainly don't think that some Baptist lady named Susan who eats fucking 3 buckets of KFC a week.
It's Jan.
Susan and Jan. There's 2 of them.
They're together.
Yeah, but they each have a bucket. That's the difference. Like, you're not gonna, you ladies who don't know a fucking thing outside of the grease that's under your fingernails from your biscuits, like, you're not gonna fix some gay person. You're certainly, with your disgusting judgment and your weird ass bangs that don't belong in 2022, you're not gonna change anything.
Right.
Yeah, you're not.
I don't know. Yeah, no, and I think that's the biggest issue with it all is this lack of awareness that other people are going to be different, and I think that's the biggest problem.
They don't need to be. Like, if whatever you are is causing other people harm, then you need to change it.
That's and
if
somebody
it isn't,
else's bedroom
live.
it doesn't bother me. Now again, that goes against the difference of like grooming children. I think that's a little weird.
Different thing.
But it's, if there's
That's
2
hurting
chicks,
someone.
2 dudes in a bedroom, I don't give a baker's fuck. It's got nothing to do with me. There's no reason for me to judge. If the Bible says it's wrong, let God deal with it later.
Certainly more interested in one than the other, but
Right.
one's more acceptable from this end. I'm just gonna throw that out there, but yeah.
Dude, there's a movie we were watching last night. It's called Legend. It's the dude from Warrior. You know the movie Warrior.
Yeah.
God, what's his name?
I know who. It's not Tom Hardy, right?
Yeah, Hardy. So he played twins. And I did a little, like, it's a movie about these 2 twins. One was kind of a mentally challenged gangster, and then the other one, whatever. So I did some research on it, and the one that was the mentally challenged gangster was also gay, and outwardly gay, like especially in the movie. But come to find out, it sounds like they were brothers, twins that were both gay, but during that era it wasn't allowed at all. So they would secretly bang each other, the two brothers.
What
so that
state
nobody
was this based out of?
England.
Oh, England.
Yeah. But I was like I was watching it with Kelly last night. The rare occasion we watch a movie, and I kind of did one of these as I was researching. I was like, read that paragraph, and she's like,
"Did you guys finish the movie?"
I did,
but she didn't.
She
clocked out.
She falls asleep at 9 o'clock, of course.
Yeah.
She's already asleep right now. I'm sure she was like, "Oh, you guys are best friends."
Yeah.
Last question, and not even a question, just conversation, because I will say I'm a different human than I was a couple years ago, and politically,
I'm a different human than I was last week.
Always changing, drastically different for me, obviously, because I've, being a part of the Western world, although I will, I still am not able to truly know what I'm doing with horses and all that stuff. I'm great with horses. I'm good at
not scared of them or anything like that.
No, and I wasn't even really,
they make a quick move, you're not like, oh, fuck.
No, not at all. Yeah. I probably in the beginning I was a little bit, now if one charges me in a small pen, not a huge fan of that. That scares me, but I consider myself
you should be scared of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weigh 1,000 pounds.
Yeah. I consider myself a little bit of a horse whisperer, but I will remember kind of this change. So I was raised Democrat, and politically, right around 2010, when I started owning my own business, it made a difference. But the biggest change to being a city Republican, which lost all his friends, to moving to the country world, the first time I went on it wasn't even a date per se, but when Kelly went on our first date, and then the first time I went to a barrel race, it was the 8 all-in barrel race in Stephenville. And I had no idea. I had no idea what I was watching. I had no idea about barrel racing, no idea about any of the stuff going on.
Rough entry, dude. That's a big barrel race, and you sat there all fucking day.
I was there for a decent amount of time. She had me help her walk the horse, and she was kind of testing me out. But I will tell you, and this is where I'm going to sound like a simp and a cuck and whatever you want to call it. But for somebody that
you can't be a cuck unless she has a boyfriend that she's with right now.
Sure, I can't be. That's true. I can't be a cuck, but I could be a simp. And and I've told this story a couple times, very rarely though. Walking in that building as somebody that had seen what was going on with the pandemic, started my shows, started losing friends, and just thought the world was going to shit in a handbasket. So this would be November of 2020, beginning of December. Walking in that building where kids are all playing with each other, adults don't give a shit about masks, and where people were singing the national anthem at the beginning and standing and all that stuff. I'm not gonna lie, and Kelly's don't tell people this, but I cried to myself. I wasn't bawling, but it was
probably because you hadn't felt true America anywhere else.
Facts. And that's what it was. And that is what I wish people would understand about the Western world. And you came from it, you left it, and it sounds like you're coming back to it. And the funny thing is,
I've been back for a long time.
And that's what I was gonna say. It's funny because you slam the Western world a decent amount on your show, kind of joke, tongue in cheek.
It's tongue in cheek, but it's also guys, don't go broke chasing something that's not gonna take care of you.
Yeah.
It's also some hard love. It's trust me, if you're not all in and you're not one of these people, don't fucking do it, because you only got one life.
Right.
Do something else. If this is about attention, don't do it.
Yeah. So I find it funny that you have the predominance of your show is the Western world, and you're I had to get the hell out of it, and then you're you managed to stay in it enough, and do you think that being this close to it with this show has kept you wanting to go kind of back into horses and what you're doing?
Yeah, and I've been doing it for a while, low key, making sure that I'm. Because I also realize that if I come out and say I was wrong, I want to be a horse trainer again.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to be.
You don't want to sound hypocritical.
I don't want to sound hypocritical, but at the same time, it's from when I started the show, I always had a call to, but I didn't want to enter it just for selfish reasons. I wanted to make a difference. To this day, I've taken $0 out of the gauge, and it's a very profitable show.
Yeah,
certainly the most profitable podcast in the Western world by a long standing.
Yeah.
And which that might sound like a lot or not. I won't ever say the amounts of money that it makes, but it's enough to operate and take care of. You've seen we have a full staff.
Yeah.
And but it's not about making money. It's about making a difference. And like, if you listen to like, especially the shows that we recorded tonight before you were here for a little bit, and then when you came back, it's like, it is truly about making a difference in our industry. I want it to grow. I want people to admire. Like, I don't want another cowboy to admire them because they're going to by default. I want a regular person like you to come in and say, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's important to me for some reason. I don't know why, but it is, and it's gotten a lot more important. Like, me from 27 to 30 is way different. I can't believe it.
And honestly, sharing this world with people that don't know. And what my favorite, I mean, I liked Kennedy, but my favorite episode you did was Fallon, because it showed two different kinds of people, and her husband, what's his name?
Alex,
badass, great guest as well. And it's like seeing this industry and sharing it with people to maybe they can't get involved with it, but respect the Western world, this Western industry is huge, because it is one of the last remaining shreds of what America is supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the snaffle bit fraternity is going on at Will Rogers in Fort Worth right now. And there's, 7-figure earners and $7 million cowboys and $10 million cowboys and people who are competing at the highest level on $1 million horses in their respective event that are going to be coming in and out of the studio for the rest of this week. And I think that their message about perseverance, hard work, discipline, and frankly, some of the mental health struggles that they're having, I think those messages are as important as a Mahomes speaking, if not more.
Oh, 100%.
Because these guys are working 20 hours a day, sometimes for tyrannical millionaires, and they're doing it all out of passion and love for the horse. And the world needs that message. They need it, and that's why my show exists.
Yeah, it's like hearing that, whether it's 5, 10, 100. When I was hearing people talk about Cash and I say that they would have committed suicide, or they wouldn't have. Some people started a salsa business. Like, it's little things like that just hearing stories from people in a different world, in a different industry, allow them to make changes in their own life, even if it's completely unrelated. And I think the Western world has the ability to, especially for conservatives that feel lost, even if they're not going to get into horses. That message translates, because it's a message of hard work, it's a message of dedication, and it's a message of fellowship with other people, whether it's religious or friendship in a different way. And I think that's huge.
It's hugely important. And you know what? I will amend things I said back in 2020 and even early 2021. But my mindset was different. I had a lot of bitterness towards the horse industry because I lost money and relationships and years trying to pursue things that weren't going to work for me, and got really tied up into the idea of becoming rich as fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And was working towards that as like this exclusive goal. And then once I'm rich as fuck, then I'll do whatever I want with horses. And it's like, you're wrong, dude.
Yeah.
Talking to myself, like, not that
you're setting your brain up for failure.
Even setting your brain up for failure. And I don't have any questions that whatever like I will choose to do, I will make it happen, because I've done it like 3 or 4 times already.
Yeah.
Come up with an idea with a balance of 0, literally and figuratively, and come out on top every time. So it's not a matter of that. But there's things more valuable than just, because I know so many rich people who are only rich.
Yeah.
And all they care about is pining for attention or filling voids. They hate themselves. They hate everybody around them who tries to love them. It's like there's more to life than money. And I'm so thankful that over the last couple of years I've realized that, and that I didn't fall into that hole and drowned with the other people who did. Scary.
Yeah.
Coveting money exclusively, turning from God and ways, turning from core principles and true passion for the pursuit of monetary gain, sports cars or big houses or whatever you think or perceive as valuable, is horrifying.
Yeah.
And I'm ashamed of that version of myself.
Don't be.
That's just the truth.
I mean, and you are, but the only thing, and again, I've been there as well to a certain point. I don't think I quite reached the level of success you did. But the one thing I'll say is there's no regrets over it. It's just lessons learned. There's no need to be.
No, the lessons are valuable.
Yeah, there's no need to. And you talked a lot about failure with Kennedy as well, and I know that's part of his book. Even though you were succeeding, it is a failure in your life, but that's why you are who you are now, and why you're.
If I would have got that success to the point where I thought I wanted it, that would have been a failure.
Why is that?
Because then I would have forsaken this and everything else
See?
that I'm pursuing.
Exactly.
And am I still pursuing financial freedom? Always. Because you can't do anything for anybody if you're broke as fuck.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. I don't know why I say that anymore, but yeah, it's just not going to change. I wish it would.
Yeah.
But I'm addicted to the word fuck, and I hate that about myself. But whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah.
People are addicted to donuts.
I set the tone. I started saying the F word
You
right
really
when I walked
did.
in.
As soon as you walked in the door. But
I was
to be
dropping
fair,
F-bombs.
when you were first in here, you didn't curse one time. I was like, this guy's really religious or something.
Oh, really?
I was wondering. I was like, this guy
Second time I came in,
I've baited him with every curse word, and he has not got on board what's going on.
That's funny. I swear I swore when I walked in here. I swore.
Not the first time.
Second time I did.
Clean. Second time you were like,
what's fucking up, guys? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what you said, but you were more comfortable, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It's you need to be financially free, because if you're not, you'll be a burden on people you love at some point.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad. That's not good. You need to be financially free. But if your goal is purely monetary, you're going to be sad, empty, and alone at some point in your life, and it's going to suck.
Preach.
So
what do you got for final words?
I don't know. People need to find a purpose. Coming from a person who doesn't quite know what theirs is outside of microphones and horses and pursuing things, it's like you got to find your purpose in this world that's not going to do you any favors. And if you think the world's going to do you favors, if you think the world is going to solve a single problem for you, or you need to blame the world or some unknown object out there, fate, luck, whatever, you're wrong. It's pathetic. And that's a harsh word, right? But pathetic, you need to hear that, motherfuckers. Like, if you're riding that victim train that you talked about,
yeah,
if you are riding that bus, you better jump out the fucking window.
True.
You are the only one who can bail yourself out.
If the word pathetic referred to you hurts, that means that you are pathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, in our
doesn't
reality,
mean you have to stay pathetic.
You can simply say, I'm not pathetic, but thank you. But if you really go, that's a really harsh word, guess what? Then you've put yourself in that position. I've lost some of my conservative, like, again, everybody's got their stupid fucking levels. I lost one because I shared that picture of the Sports Illustrated cover model that was overweight. Is she still beautiful? Cool, absolutely. Should she be celebrated?
Was she beautiful? I don't know.
She's pretty in the face. Yeah,
was she? No, I'm not being facetious. Like, was she a pretty woman, or was she just a fat woman?
I think beautiful is over the top. I think she was attractive to the right market, but she's obese. She's by definition obese. And you know what? I think and my friend she was a plus size model, and she thought that was disrespectful. I go, more power to you to be a plus size model. I think she was a beautiful person inside and out. I thought she was very pretty. She was just very big. But that should also mean that she should strive to be healthy. That's all. Because in the end, her quality of life will be 10 times better than if she's a plus size model making money.
Her quantity of life. She's going to fucking die at 50.
True. And I simply just said, if you're a cover model for a Kohl's magazine and you're getting a shitload of money being a plus size model, more power to you. I don't think we should be celebrating obesity. And I got canceled for that as well. And it's simply because it is a pathetic mindset to think that you're the victim in that sense, because I simply said that somebody that is a weight on our financial institutions and insurance and all that stuff, just simply stating a fact, giving away donuts for vaccines is pathetic. It's disgusting, and people to think that this is a good thing. I think, again, that goes to health, and it goes to the whole mental health of people not understanding when you're a victim. You have to understand. Once you understand that you're playing the victim card, you can change it. But if you don't understand you're being a victim, that's the biggest problem.
It's identity for most people. Yeah. Victimhood is an identity. It keeps you from ever having to be accountable for your entire fucking pathetic life.
I feel like we should end it. End it right at the, it never makes you accountable for your fucking pathetic life.
It's the truth. Like, everything in life is about accountability and action.
Yeah.
If you fail on both those fronts, you're never going to be anyone or anything.
Truth. One more time, where can people find you?
So that would be at the Gauge Podcast on Instagram, Gauge Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. If you want to look at me personally, you're not going to see much content. I'm not a self-promoter. Never have been, never will be. But it's at Chance Conrado on Instagram, and do not go to my Facebook. I don't have one.
That is the end of the longest, by far. We're about 3 hours.
Holy shit.
That was a good convo.
Yeah.
That is the longest we've had. And again, thank you guys for joining. If you're still around, we have our viewership, although small, they stick around for the whole episode. So hopefully you guys stuck around. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Good conversation. I feel like maybe we'll do it again, because I feel like we probably have 3 more hours worth of shit to talk about at one point. But we got to get to bed. So, and I got to get back to Kelly. I think we should end it with knowing what she texted last and probably getting yelled at. What was it? Oh, babe. That's a wrap. Thanks for guys for joining. AwakeNetWokeStore.com, 15% off with Awake, and Patreon.com/Blunt Force Discussion. Catch you all later. Deuces.